Hello everyone, and welcome to this week. We don't have any Mithras this week because Longshanks EPG is at home celebrating Father's Day, so which is tomorrow. And I found out today that is Father's Day across the world tomorrow. It would seem, so it's absolutely fantastic. So so he's not here tonight, so we never play Mithras with anybody missing, so we fall back onto our game of Starfinder, which we can jump in and out of at any one point. We've never actually had four people. I don't think we will ever have four people because we only play Starfinder when one person's not here. So it always is three no matter what. Sometimes we bring them along for just the fun of it, and I play them, but normally 9 out of 10 there's just three people with us. So I'll tell you what's happening or what has happened in a second. But before we go any further, I'll allow the players an opportunity to tell you who they are and who they will be playing tonight. And we'll start off with Medivac.
Hello, everybody. I'm Medivac. I'm playing Zetharius. He's a Kazath. He's from the planet Kazath. He's a four-armed person who's basically a Kazathus. What they generally do is they are very cultural and very honed in on the past. They like to seek answers from things now, but from the past experiences. Now, they obviously escaped from the dying planet, so they know a lot of history of what's been going on that's been passed on to generation and generation on their way to where they are now in the Indari home ship. And at the moment, Zetharius is on his tempering, which is a little bit of a walkabout as such, where all young Zetharath, it's hard to say, go on to learn about themselves and basically blow some steam before they settle down to the more serious thing of gathering culture and learning things about other people and know what they want to do in the universe. And it's all about balance. So with that, I shall pass it on to Mr. Pickles.
Mr. Pickles is who I am, and I am playing our team's android, BuddyBot 4000 playful model, but most people just call me Buddy for short because it's too many numbers to be saying in somebody's name. I believe I have the background of Icon, but my main job is the envoy, the face of the team, so to speak. I'm kind of the one that interacts and questions people. For the most part, BuddyBot was kind of just a servant prior to becoming that level 1 envoy and going out and venturing, helping people. Perceptive. I'm got some skills in my backpack that I don't think the group knows about yet. But for the most part, I'm just computers, diplomacy, and our science officer on the ship. Throwing the microphone over to Chuggaluga.
Hi guys, I'm Chugwaga. Tonight I'm playing a different character. My character is Francesca Delaney, who is a human mechanic who hails from the Absalon station. As a mechanic, she's adept at building and maintaining machinery, and she also has a good knowledge of computer systems as well. She has a faithful drone companion, which is normally always by her side. When she's not out adventuring, she normally spends a fair amount of time traveling the vast expanse of space where she normally acts as a mechanic. And I shall pass back on to Inwells.
Cool. I'm just putting your drone on.
Well, thank you very much.
And I will give it to you. Does it have a name?
Yes. Babs.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
I presume it's like that. Now, BuddyBot, don't get excited just because there's another another robot. Don't feel that you've been put out or anything like that. So, the group have actually been apart from Zath, who is not technically, his dying planet was far removed from the Pact Worlds, and they transferred here. Hi, Big Beastie, thank you for the host. And this is the Pact Worlds, where the players are actually living at the moment, and they are actually on Absalon Station, and Absalon Station is all that remains of a planet called Galarian. And it's deep within it has a starstone that actually draws travelers to it. And last adventure they went off to try to they've been searching for a ship or a group of people from the Starfinder Society, which they are members of, and they found that somebody was selling their little insignias that they have, and they went off, and they actually went onto an Exonian ship called the Endless Threnody, and they actually had a space battle with it, carefully maneuvering the ship around, readjusting shields, patching any glitches and malfunctions that had happened, and they actually managed to defeat the ship and board it. They had a bit of problem once they got onto the ship because there was a narcotic power operating, and which damaged them on a regular basis, and then they came across some of the skeleton crew, which actually did some serious damage to them. Anyway, they managed eventually to get through the necrotic power grid and to the bridge, where they managed to download the information that they were hoping to get that might give the party an indication about what happened to the actual ship that the Starfinders Society were actually on. They then took their Lore Seeker, or the name of their starship, they flew it back to Absalon Station and presented the information to Venture Captain Arvin for interrogation of the data, that is, and they then went back to their normal everyday places and enjoyed some downtime. Now, I'm just moving you on to Absalon Station, and I just wanted you to see how much you remember about Absalon Station. So before we go any further, and this is not a test, I just need to know how much you remember for the rest of the adventure, and I can't remember who was actually here in the first one or not. So first things first, we know about Absalon Station, and we know that what was the goddess that gave everybody the drift drive? What's the name of that goddess?
Was that Triune?
Triune, yeah. Triune sort of like presented everybody. That was in your Space Travel 101 test last week, and so that's what it. And well, what a lot of the time in this this era is called AG. So it says like 410 AG. What does the AG stand for?
That would be after the gap. Oh, sorry, Mr. Fields.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say after Galarian.
Yeah, well, after the gap. And if you remember, there was a huge period of time when nobody knows what happened. People still know that they're married to somebody, but they don't remember when they were actually, how they got together or anything like that. And there's this gap in history. Brilliant. So does anybody remember any of the areas of Absalon Station?
There's a judicial tower that we went to.
Yeah, called the Law Spire. Yeah.
Law Spire, yeah.
That's where the Starfinding Society actually is. Yeah.
There's one called the Down Low.
Yeah, so it's called down low, and that's what happens in down low.
Is that where all the vegetation?
I mean, yeah, there is some vegetation down there. There are various vat gardens, but down low is sort of like the lower end of the
slums.
yeah, and if you remember, it's down in the bottom of this spike that actually goes underneath Absalon Station. So there's also another area that is another name for a body of water or a pool of water that you'll find on your ground.
The reservoir.
No, smaller.
The pond.
Smaller.
The puddle.
The creek.
Yeah, puddles. Yeah, there's the puddles, and that's a flooded tank warren area of Absalon Station. And there's also the self-contained Blue Rise Towers, which is where all the corporates, corporations actually hang out. Bot Scrap, Downlow, and Pipe Town are all areas where it's mainly run by gangs. It's almost like gang warfare down there, and everybody's running it and things like that. Anybody remember the area where there's a whole load of space bars and everything like that? Is where you actually started your adventure off.
I should do.
It's not the Drifter's End, is it? That's
it. That's the area of rowdy space bars, and you actually started off your adventure a couple of sessions ago in a bar called
the Starstone.
No, Starfall.
Starfall.
Yeah. Okay then. So this is an adventure, a session that you've delivered your information back to the captain, and you have been asked. It's about 2 or 3 days after you eventually come back, so your hit points and stamina points will be completely up to speed. You would have rested and recovered, and the Law Seeker, remember, wasn't your ship, it was loaned to you. So you've just been hanging out in Drifter's End in your accommodation, either in small motel rooms or something like that, and it's about a couple of days later that you actually get summoned back to the Law Spire for a meeting with Venture Captain Arvin. And he sort of like invites you up, and if you remember, it's you go up the long shaft, and then there's sort of like a waiting room, if you remember, when there's a secretary there that's sort of like tapping on a blank screen from where you're looking at, but obviously it's a whole load of data and she's moving stuff around left, right and centre. And then after a while, Captain Irvin tells you to go in. Or she tells you to go into the Venture Captain Arvin's room, and he sort of like welcomes you in, and he sort of like sat at one of those semicircular Taurus tables, and sort of like has everything sort of like round about him, and including a variety of data pads. And when you come in, he sort of like presses a button, and a screen comes up in front of him. It's sort of like a holographic screen, so you can sort of like see it back to front, and it just appears on in front of him, and he seems to have a whole load of windows all overlapping with a huge amount of information on it. And he sort of like he tells you it's about 9 a.m. and he sort of like beckons you in, and he says, please be seated.
Thank you for offering a seat.
Yeah, he sort of like looks at you, buddy, but it says, you are programmed to sit.
Yes, sir, I am programmed to sit.
Good.
I promptly go over and sit in that chair in the most rigid way possible.
Yeah.
But Frankie will go up to a chair, and she'll sort of like turn it round the other way and sit with it so that she can rest her arms on the back
Yeah,
of.
so this is quite a formal meeting with Starfinder Society. So he doesn't sort of like take to your improper behaviour as he sees it, and he just sort of like looks at you, sort of like as if to say, "Please remember where you are." You know, in the sense that he's captain of the law Starfinder Society here. And
So Nathaniel will bow and say, "Thank you," and take a seat.
yeah, and he sort of like looks round, and when Frankie doesn't turn her chair back round, he sort of like reaches out to one side and he taps something into what appears to be a data pad. And he sort of like looks at you and addresses you, and he says, I have very important news to give to you all. Our analysis of the data is going very well, and it would appear that we almost have a location of where the crashed starship that was carrying the Star Seekers would be. It appears to be on a planet called All-Married, and it seems we are still investigating the planet, mainly because it seems to be out in the vast. It will obviously take some time to see whether or not we have any knowledge of this before we can go any further. However, we are, of course, as you might be expecting, as to say, we are manning a rescue mission. And you will be accompanying myself and one other person out to the planet once we have secured location to find our missing ship and our fellow companions. Now then, I say one other person, and that is why you are here today, because it would appear that your pilot has somehow seconded and is no longer available for this mission, and therefore we will be recruiting a new pilot, and he is due to arrive today, and you will be requested, or I am informing you that you will be meeting him, and you should introduce yourselves, and then you can bring him along tomorrow morning for the briefing before we get underway. Questions, people?
Where are we meeting him, honey?
Where's your drone?
My drone will be. I would have left it outside.
So you left it with the secretary?
Well, it'll just be. Yes, it'll just be in the.
Yeah. You are aware that this is a formal meeting, and Venture Captain is your senior person. He sort of like looks at you and frowns a bit when you use inappropriate language for such an officer such as himself, and he sort of like
do we have like ranks or something in it?
Well, yeah,
we have ranks, or
yeah, you are Starfinders, and his rank is
Venture Captain.
Venture Captain, yeah.
Right.
So there's not much above him at all. There's probably an admiral somewhere, but he probably is some kind of fat cat business person who just lounges away.
Is it like Starfleet then? Is it that type of
Starfleet, as in Star Trek?
Yeah.
No, it's not sort of like everybody wears red shirts and blue shirts and things like that. There's no what it is that it is an organisation. Starfinder Society is an organisation. I think I gave you this information a couple of games ago. founded shortly after the end of the gap and inspired by incomplete tales. And it's your job, if you remember, to go out and find new locations, to go boldly where no person has gone before. And the general setup of it is that you have like people who are in charge, like a boss, and then you have almost like middle management, and then you have you guys. You know, so it's a bit like coming to a meeting like this is meeting with your boss. You know, it's not a sort of like a friendly chat with a person down the road or anything like that. It's sort of like, hence his title, Venture Captain. You know, he does have a rank. You guys sadly do not have ranks at the present moment of time.
Venture Captain, can you tell me what kind of planet Olmered is?
Yes, he says. It's a desert planet, we suspect. Our initial findings from the interrogating the databanks suggest that it is a desert planet, although there seems to have been some catastrophic event there that we are still looking into. What that is, we are not too sure about at the moment. But as information comes in, I will probably feed it straight to your comlinks, so you have a complete and up-to-date information.
And Venture Captain, sir, do we have a name for the pilot so we don't start talking to a random person?
Yes, he sort of like taps something and he grabs, he sort of like grabs in the air, something like that, and goes like that, and it comes in up on all your communicators. And it looks like you are to, somebody asked this before, but I didn't, we moved on to something else, but you are to find him at Docking Bay 5, and Docking Bay 5 is the place that you actually arrived on. So it's the most popular place for starships coming in to offload things like cargo and people, etc. It's a huge docking bay that has a whole load of different sort of like slots, so they can fit about 3 to 5 starships into each docking bay. And the name of the pilot is Hank Saw. I'll pop it in the chat for you so you can see it. And he's due to arrive on the starship Clements. And I've put that in the chat for you as well. The ETA on that ship, by the way, is shortly after noon today.
Venture Captain, is there any protective gear that we should obtain before we go on this quest? Or is there any threats that we should know of that we should be prepared for?
He turns around and he sort of says, "We, Mr. Buddybot, we will be meeting tomorrow with the pilot, when you will get a full briefing of the complete information we have on the new planet, and also any other information that we can find on the Unbounded Wayfarer." And that's the name of the starship that the insignias were found from, the Unbounded Wayfarer.
Thank you, sir.
I'll pop it in chat as well, so you've got that. There you go. Yeah. He says, any other questions?
Yeah, Venture Captain, due to my funds ring very low, would we be able to commandeer any equipment from the company or not?
He looks quite puzzled at you and says, equipment for meeting a pilot, being...
No. I was thinking more future, not regarding this, but maybe later on, depending where we go. Maybe some medical bits and pieces.
You do not know what the future holds for you, Zath. It can be many things. Live in the present and forget the future.
I will try, sir.
Any other questions?
No venture, Captain.
No. Cool. So it's just gone about 9 o'clock. So you have any time that you wish between 9 and 12 if there's anything that you want to do. And the first thing that you do is that as you're sort of like going down from the law spire and sort of like walking through, Frankie, you'll pick up your drone as you pick up Babs as you go out as well. And there's a nice walk down and through the surrounded gardens, and that gives you an opportunity to familiarize yourselves with each other, because obviously the party in this format hasn't been together yet. So by all means, introduce Frankie, you better start it off, since you are the new person to the group.
Well, Frankie is female and with black hair, which is in a currently in a ponytail. She has some type of flight suit on, the arms of which have actually been ripped off. And that's the thing that you notice about her the most, is that her left arm is actually a robot arm. It's not a prosthetic limb like most people have when they lose a limb in this day and age. It's actually a metal-looking arm. Round her waist is a belt, which on one side has what you can only be described as some type of archaic wrench, maybe a pipe wrench, something like that. And she also carries some type of pistol, probably a laser pistol. There's various tool kits round her waist as well. She's accompanied by a drone, probably about 4 foot tall, bipedal, walking on 2 legs. Looks like a box, basically. On the front is a round red light that tends to flash, sometimes quickly, sometimes the light will stay on. And Frankie seems to take notice of the light, and you see her almost like tapping occasionally the drone in return. Just below the light are 2 iris valves, and on either side of it is two hatches.
During our walk out of the Lost Spire or wherever we met, BuddyBot takes the initiative after scanning and analyzing all these things about Frankie, getting those details, promptly introduces himself. Hello, I am BuddyBot. I believe we are now cohorts in our quest to find knowledge and the truth. Extend a hand rigidly towards you.
Yeah, Frankie actually takes the hand and then sort of like whacks you on the shoulder as well. And she says, "It's good to meet you, honey. It's good to meet you." And as she's saying that, you can see the red light is going off and on the drone. And Frankie sort of like looks at it and says, "I don't know, Babs. I'll ask her." And she says, What are you? A 3000, a 4000 model?
I am BuddyBot 4000, playful model.
4,000
designed for fun.
It's a 4,000 model. And then she points. She says, "Oh, this is Babs. Made her myself, I did."
Fascinating. And I see that you are also part robotic as well. Maybe now more people will understand my jokes.
Yeah, I lost my arm.
That is unfortunate.
Yes.
This is Zatharius. He is also our buddy.
Hello, human. I'm Zatharius. Nice to meet you, friend.
Frankie holds out her hand to shake one of his hands and then moves it down to one of the other hands and then puts her other hand out, and in the end she just she just whacks you on the shoulder as well, and she says, "It's good to meet you. It's good to meet you." Well, it looks like we're going to be traveling buddies.
We will, and it'll be an interesting time. I hope to learn many things from you.
Well, hopefully we can maybe hit a bar or two before we get on.
Yes, a bar would be fun.
The just to let you know, a comlink call's just come through to all your communicators with a picture of what Hank saw looks like. His Starfinder Society data file has been sent to you. He is human. He looks incredibly young in his picture. And when I say young, I mean young for human years. He looks almost like he must have been about 19 when the picture was taken. You also notice that he has quite a list of achievements over the past 5 years, all really to do with venturing forth into strange locations or unknown locations at that point, and recovering and returning with various artifacts, some of which are said even to be dated from before the gap, or maybe possibly within the gap. And there's some quite exciting things in there. Unfortunately, there is a list that is just as long, or maybe even longer, of various reprimands that have been given or brought against him. Very simple things to start off with, like being intoxicated on the job, flying a spacecraft while under the influence, being late for meetings, and not turning up for meetings. The final one that, and as this list of reprimands gets more, the list of actual artifacts and beneficial things that he does seems to get shorter and shorter. They seem to be connected and correlated inversely against each other as they move. And you notice that he hasn't been on a mission for the Starfinder Society for some time now. You figure with all the dates, BuddyBot calculates it extremely quickly, and the guy will be, Hank will be about 24, 25 human years. He looks quite not completely buff, but not out of shape, and he has jet black hair and somewhat sparkling blue irises in his eyes. The other thing that you do notice is that as you look down the reprimands, there are some occasions that he has been caught doing things that might not be suitable for a Starfinder Society member, and he seems, just by the number of female names mentioned, he almost like appears to be somewhat of a Casanova. He seems to be more interesting in well, let's just say probably going boldly, or boldly going, probably has a slightly different meaning in his mind. And yeah, and you can see all this. He's still currently in employment with the Starfinder Society, and you're not too sure why. But he seems to be a typical fly by the seat of your pants pilot, one of the flyboys.
Frankie will let out a low whistle, and then she'll turn to the other two and says, "Looks like we've got a bit of a player on our hands."
Yes, it'll be nice to have new friends.
I call dibs.
I think we can all be friends with our new friend.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Hank can do.
Well, hopefully he can fly.
Hmm.
Yes, but it looks like he will be also skilled in consuming of alcohol.
That
Okay,
was
so
true.
the you sort of like make your way and talking as you go through various parks. You probably stop for some kind of coffee and sort of like take some intake of caffeine or water, or maybe even a pastry, a space pastry, as you go through. And then you make your way down to Docking Bay 5 eventually. Reddy stood back to one side, awaiting the arrival of the Clements. The docking bay looks something like this. So you should be able to see it on your screen now. So there seems to be a variety of sort of like cargo boxes and pipes and markings on the floor, etc., etc. These doors here up at the top, and those are the ones that head into Absalon Station. So those would be almost like the blast doors. And then this area here is where you can see crates and trolley beds being moved along. And then down here is where the ships land, and then they dock onto the side of the space station, and then the airlock is connected, and then people and cargo will disembark off the spaceships onto this area. And when you arrive at Docking Bay 5, there's a huge amount of hustle and bustle. It's not a static place at all. There's little trolleys moving around the place. There's various people arriving carrying suitcases and travel bags and things like that. And it's almost like quite a busy place. And the other thing that you notice is that there's various people stood around that seem to be having things like data pads in their hands, and they're sort of like marking things off. They're like quartermasters, they're marking things off. And as you see another spaceship disembark its or regurgitate out its cargo and people, and they seem to go through some kind of security check that Absalon Station does. And the quartermaster is scanning people in, and there's other people sort of like doing the cargo, etc. The other thing is, roundabout and here, there, and everywhere, there also seems to be almost like, for want of a better word, layabouts or ruffians that just seem to be stood there, almost like watching people and going, messing about with things. They look like teenagers or 20-year-old humans mainly. Those people who probably don't have a job, or they're just hanging out and got nothing else to do in between lunch breaks, in between work schedules and over lunch breaks. The other thing that you do notice on the docking bay is that there's a characteristic huge pipes everywhere, and every now and again you can see on the gridded floor that you can see some here. There's that sort of like steam that comes up, and every now and again you hear a complete sort of like sort of like air or vapor is sort of like discharged into the docking bay. And so this is the bay here that the Clements is due to land at. Okay, what would you like to do, guys?
Frankie wants to find like a pillar or something, a pipe coming up that she can just put her back up against and put one of her legs up on it, and she'll have Babs by the side of her, just so that she can monitor whereabouts the docking bay 5. She's memorized what Hank looks like, and she's just going to watch what's going on. She's pretty used to being in starport and what's going on. So she's just going to stand there waiting.
Yeah, well, I'm just putting your characters on, and then you can actually decide where you want them to stand in relation to everything. I'm just making sure that you can see just by the size of you here, and this is one of the main reasons I've done the map. You can see the general height and the sort of the vastness of this place. It's not a small place. It is quite huge. Okay, everybody should have control of the characters now.
Is this like a booth then? This bit here.
No, that's an information point. Can you see it says info? So yeah, so this.
I didn't know whether or not this was sort of like an entrance that people would go in, and then there was somebody sat behind.
No. Well, this is the entrance that somebody does go into, but the person sits there, and you go up and ask them things, and they sort of like tell you what's going on. It's almost like a robotic thing. You can see the screen here. So you could walk in here and then say, tell me where Drifter's End is, and it'll bring up a holographic map and on the screen as well, and sort of like direct you to BuddyBot. You're massive compared to everybody else. I don't know why.
Thank you.
There you go.
BuddyBot is running anxiety.exe because of all the chaos going around, so he'd like to run any security protocol with his eyes that he can to monitor, especially those ruffians. Just kind of, if any of them wander near, I'd like to be able to be monitoring suspiciously to protect my crew.
Cool.
Friends.
Well, okay then. So that's fine. Whereabouts do you want to stand? If you do, I can see where.
I thought these were sort of like, are these sort of like crates or something?
Yeah.
Maybe.
The majority of the ruffians, BuddyBot, are sort of like round almost like the backside of the docking bay. So they're almost like anywhere north of this line.
That does not abate my anxiety at all. I kind of put myself, BuddyBot puts himself equidistance from his buddies so that he can kind of be standing there and turning slowly and making sure nobody's sneaking up on us to cause shenanigans. Cool. Actually, let me get out of the way so I don't get crushed by any people unloading stuff.
Zath is going to start the info there, just the info center, just getting random information, learning about what's going on here as much as he can, while also keeping an eye out. So you'll see two of his hands, his right hand's plodding away at maybe an info screen, just generally going for general knowledge and whatnot, and what ships are coming and going, while he's also looking around and looking for Hank Saw to come off this ramp.
Yeah, so you can see that there's various, everybody can see this, there's various holographic imagery superimposed around the place that sort of almost like says the arrival, and it also, there's a whole load of adverts going off saying, where's the best place to go, if you want a nice accommodation, etc., etc., and the whole place is really quite bustly. BuddyBot, can you just roll me your perception, and then I'll keep the score ready just in case.
That's what I was presuming my security protocol was based on.
Exactly.
Yeah, big 6.
Obviously, that's a 1. Yeah. So obviously you're a friendly BuddyBot, but your security program is not completely downloaded. You suddenly notice that when it sort of like clicks in, it's suddenly saying that there's updates available. So you sort of like start making sure it's downloaded, and in here the wireless isn't that good, so you can see that they're thinking like that but you continually search around, and just after the holographic imagery sort of like says that the Clements will arrive at 12:06 and 37 seconds. And it is slightly early because it comes in at 35 seconds and lands, and the doors open, and the first people off seem to be Starship people. They have their overalls on, and they're obviously part of the crew on the Clements, and they come off, and they almost like pull out from the back of the ship, almost like little podiums, little poles, and they pull it out. It almost like makes a gangway, and they sort of like stand at the edge, and there's two of them, one on either side, and they as they stand there, then a whole load of people start to come out. You also notice that on both sides of the Clement, they've opened cargo bay doors, and there's various machinery now coming up and offloading crates of goods that seem to have barcodes on them, or some kind of coding facility. It's not saying exactly what's in them, but you can see them being taken off and moved around the place, and the people start to file off.
Frankie's going to be keeping an eye out for Hank getting off.
Yeah. Okay, so you all stand there, and all these people come off, and there's a range of races and obviously occupations. There's some Vesk soldiers, back from leave, and there's various Yusoki coming off, and human, but the majority are humans that are coming off, and everybody seems to file off, and the two quartermasters seem to be ticking names off, and the last person comes off, a rather elderly human, who sort of like gets a name ticked off, and she comes over here and is greeted by obviously maybe her son or daughter. They seem to be married, and a little child. And then one of the quartermasters goes over to this position over here and starts to check off the cargo, and the other guy, who was stood sort of like here, hangs his data pad back into his pouch down by his belt, and he starts to push the poles and the rope back away.
Frankie's going to go up to him, and she's going to say, "Excuse me, honey."
Yes.
We were supposed to be meeting someone on this on this ship. He doesn't seem to have got off. Could you check the manifest?
He sort of like says to you. He says, "Name?"
Hank Saw, he was called.
He sort of like types in. You see that he the number of taps on the keys must be doing like Control F, and then Hank Saw, and presses a button. He says, "No."
Darkhead.
He says, "No, sorry, nobody on the ship called Hank Saw at all." And he sort of like pops his data pad away.
Error.
Anything else I can help you with?
Hearing the conversation, I'm assuming I can hear it in earshot, I'll walk over as well, and
You probably haven't heard the conversation, because, like I said before, this whole place is all bustling. You can tell that Frankie's talking to the quartermaster. That's absolutely fine. So you can go across. That's not a problem.
Yep. Hello, sir. We were sent here by Venture Captain Arvin to meet a Hank Saw. Has he arrived yet? I've not seen him.
He sort of like looks at you, and then looks at Frankie, and sort of like looks back and says, "I've just told you, Mrs. He's not on the ship."
Oh,
He doesn't even look at his data pad. He just sort of like says, "It's not on the ship."
Right. Well, I know we don't look the same, and I know diversity is a human thing, but she's not my missus.
And why is that then? Is she not good enough?
Oh, believe you me, I'm good enough.
These people.
It's something to be looked into.
He sort of like looks at you, Frankie, and he says, "Love, us humans are so accepting, aren't we? We embrace the diversity of the universe, and yet it probably that diversity that fails to be accepting of everyone else.
Honey, it will probably be our downfall.
Their downfall as well.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe if I describe him, you could. It might jog your memory.
Roll me a diplomacy skill. DC is 15.
I can't.
All right.
I don't have it as a class skill.
Okay. Well, it's you can still roll it if it's untrained. It's not one of the. It's not. Yeah, he sort of like says to you, look, his name's not on the data pad, so he wasn't on the ship.
Where did you come from, honey?
Yeah, well, he sort of like describes his route. So they've been around the majority of the packed worlds, the inhabitable ones, and he's been on to some planets out in the vast, and he's arrived here in at Absalon Station like most traders do.
Could Zaf put in a call to Venture Captain Arvin?
Yeah, by all means.
Yeah. Hello, Vice Captain Arvin. This is Seth.
Yeah, it takes a while to get through to him because you have to go via your via the secretary, and then eventually it sort of like gets through to Venture Captain, and he says yes, I'm in a meeting.
Oh, you asked us to meet Hank Saw at Docking Bay 5, and it appears he's not on the ship.
And what are you reporting, Zath?
That he's not here for us to meet him. So, what would you like us to do now?
I would have thought that was obvious, Zath. Find him. And he terminates the call.
Wonderful.
Buddy Bot would like to approach now that it's taken way too long for them to talk to a quartermaster.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can move myself.
Can you move here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Approach. Stare expectantly at everybody, my android face.
Yeah, so this quartermaster's finished putting the ropes away.
Where is Hank Saw, my friends?
It looks like he's given us the slip already.
The slip.
And Captain Arvin wants us to find him.
Well,
New quest.
Ooh, got background music. Well, I know where I'd go if I had just got off a ship. Let's hit the bar.
Quartermaster, I am Buddy Bot. Do you know anything that could help us find Hank Saw?
He looks around and says, I'm sorry, Buddy Bot. I don't know who you're looking for. And he takes out his data pad again and says, you can see he's not on the crew manifesto or the passenger manifesto.
I see. Thank you for your assistance.
You can see as you look down there, there's definitely no Hank Saw on the passenger manifesto at all.
Quartermaster, how likely is it that people can stow away on your ship without being on the records?
He looks at you and he just sort of says, highly unlikely.
That is good to know. I trust you.
Most people do.
On the info center, does it give a list of other ships that have come in this past day?
Oh yeah, and there'll be a whole lot down here of all the ships that are coming in and arriving or departing throughout the day. I mean, it's like 24/7 arrival and departure around Absalon Station. If you remember, there's even a whole load of starships actually out in the peripheral, just sort of like almost like hanging around, engaging with trade out there as well.
From our documents about Hank Saw, specifically his crimes, You said it was flying.
It's reprimands. Yeah.
Oh, his reprimands. Yeah, that's actually a lot less harsh.
Yeah.
You said flying while intoxicated. Were we implying alcohol or a different intoxicant here?
Yeah, in this day and age, it could be anything from alcohol to drugs.
It's not listed on the reprimands, though. What kind?
It will be on the personal file, but not on his general everyday file. It just says while intoxicated.
Well, that doesn't really narrow what kind of establishment he might go to immediately if he had slipped away.
Frankie just rests a hand on Buddy Bot's shoulder and says, I tell you, if he's going to be anywhere, he's going to be in one of the bars. I say we start at the closest bar and work through them.
Processing. Diplomacy successful. Let's go check the bars. Zatharius? You should come with us.
Concur. Yes, we will. It seems to be the usual haunt for humans, doesn't it? So let's go explore.
Okay, so you head past the 94 there and head towards the double blast doors at the back. And while you're doing that, can you all make for me, please, a perception roll? If anybody's got anything additional hearing enhancements or anything like that, then add them to the roll. If not, just do your normal perception rolls.
I don't have fancy ears, just standard. Standard process. Where did my perception go? Where did it go?
Yeah, where did it go? Did you get a 2?
I'm still uploading.
Did you get a 2 that time? Yeah, you are definitely still uploading the information. Okay, so as you walk towards the blast doors, there's the following. There's 2 things. There's one thing that Zaf and Frankie you see. And then there's something that all 3 of you hear. And the first thing you see is that while you're all busy here talking to this quartermaster, it appears that somebody was talking to the other quartermaster that went off to one side. And the only reason you know that they were talking to them is that as you walk away and starting to go in, let me just, this way, they head off. So they've sort of like been talking to the quartermaster here, and the person heads off this way and sort of like blends into the crowd. It's quite a strange looking person. You only see them from the back, and they seem to be wearing some kind of cloak or robe. You can see it billowing in the wind as it walks away, but you also notice that it had some kind of hood up as well, and you sort of like notice it, because the only reason Zath and Frankie you notice it is that as you're walking away, they seem to be walking away, and you could just catch it in your peripheral vision and turn. You needed a 20 to see it, and you just sort of like catch it, and then you think, oh, that's interesting, and it disappears into the crowd. The other thing that you all hear as you come down this part is that you hear some of the ruffians laughing, and they sort of like seem to be pointing at you guys and laughing at you guys. And what one of them sort of like shouts out, he sort of like says, "You looking for Hank then?" And they sort of like laugh, and somebody else shouts out at you, "Have you found him then?"
Frankie will.
You'll be further up than that.
Yeah, sorry, I tried to move further up.
No, I moved you all to a point. So yeah, that's where you are. Yeah, so you're just like heading for the blast doors.
So, one of the ones that said, "So you're looking for Hank then?" Frankie's going to go up to them with Babs just slightly behind her, and she's going to say, "Yes, honey, we are. What do you know of Hank?"
They sort of like look at you, and they look at Babs, and you notice that a lot of them are probably not looking straight at your eyes, and they sort of like says, "Oh, everyone knows Hank's missus," like that. And then they sort of like look at you and say, "Surprised you don't. I bet you know Hank, don't you?"
Well, I'm looking at getting to know Hank. Where can I find him?
They all burst out laughing at that. And they're all sort of like rolling about the floor almost. And so one of them says, "Yeah, everyone wants to know Hank, don't they?" And they sort of like nudge each other and have a snigger at the comment.
And Frankie's going to say, "Come on, guys, you can tell me. Where can we find him?"
Roll your diplomacy. Yeah, she sort of looks at you, they just sort of like laugh, and he says, "Don't worry, missus, don't worry, I'm sure he'll find you all right. You're a good looking one." And somebody else says, "Not that Hank minds," and everybody laughs again. And another guy sort of like calls out, "Seems everyone's looking for Hank, isn't it? Or Hank's looking for everyone." And they all sort of like have another laugh as well.
I'd like to join in the laughter as I'm moving over to join.
You sort of goes, "Ha ha 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 ha."
I try and blend in with the group a little bit. We are all looking for Hank.
Yeah.
But where would he be? Is the question, my friends. Ha ha.
Probably with a woman. One of them shouts. Another one shouts, so like says, "Probably in bed." And then somebody else shouts, "No, it doesn't bother with a bed." And they all sort of like laugh about it. You can make a diplomacy check.
I can?
Yeah.
Yes, organic life forms and their mating rituals. Ha.
Yeah, they're sort of like joining your laughter and sort of like laugh along with you and sort of say, "You're all right, android.
You can call me buddy."
You're all right, android buddy. You're cool, you are."
I am actually the playful model, not the cool model.
Oh, yeah. I think Hank's the playful model as well. And they all laugh. And somebody falls off the crate in mid-laughter and hits the floor. And they're just sort of like all busy laughing. And what one of them says, "Do you really want to find him, android buddy?"
Indeed, I would like to become friends with him, as would my cohorts.
"Yeah, I bet she would," they say, looking at Frankie. And it says, "I don't know whether or not he's into androids, though." And somebody shouts, "It's probably the only thing he's not into." And they all laugh again. And then one of them sort of like turns around, and he seems to be almost like the boss. They're sort of like the lead ruffian. And he sort of like says, "Drifter's End, Mr. Buddybot. Drifter's End."
Thank you, my friends. This information has been very helpful. What is your name?
Pete.
Pete. You are now my friend, Pete.
Cool. What do I get?
You get the power of friendship. Would you like to hear my favorite joke?
No.
Then you will not hear it.
Does it come with any money?
I'm afraid not. It is just a joke, and traditionally jokes do not come with money. However, for your assistance, I would be happy to give you 20 credits.
Yeah? And one of
Do
them
I
sort of like jumps down and
dispense
sort of like scans his cred sticker over yours to retrieve it. And another one says, "I have information. I can tell you something. I can tell you something." And another one says, "I can tell you something. We want 20 credits as well. Can we tell you something, please, please?" And one of them shouts out, "I know he slept with my sister. You want me to find my sister for you?"
I'm afraid we do not need women. But your attention has been noted. I will come back later for more information if needed.
If you need any information, Mr. Buddybot, come back to us with your 20 credits, and we will bound to give you anything you know. We know lots round here.
I actually do require some information. If anybody knows it, it is worth 10 credits. What kind of intoxicant?
They also like go, "Oh, 10 credits.
What kind of intoxicants does Hank Saw consume?
What they all shout at you, all in various things, and there seems to come anywhere from some kind of solvent abuse through to almost like really powerful drugs. But the majority of thing that gets thrown back at you is things like alcohol. But they don't say alcohol. They say a whole lot of different types of drinks. You know, like starship shooters and comic crumblers and planetoid posers and things like that. And they just sort of, so you get it, and then you notice that they're also like holding out their wrists where they have their credit information on. Ready for
Frankie's going to get really close to Buddy, and she's going to say, "Buddy, honey, perhaps we should get going."
Indeed. I dispense like 30 credits among these people. And then I make an attempt to slink away with Frankie and Zatharius.
Yeah, and you sort of like walk away, and the Babs sort of like follows you, and you sort of like leave the docking bay 5, and you suddenly do realise, Buddy, that you have about 8 new contacts on your comm system now, ranging from Pete through Dave and everything like that. It seems that as they actually scanned the money out, they exchanged contact details with you as well, and so they're on. And Frankie, you also noticed that Babs has a couple of stickers stuck onto him or her or it. One says, "Call me for a ride," and then in really small letters it says "home" underneath it. And another sticker that has been whacked onto Babs says, "Hoot if you like drones," and that's it. Sorry, just as you go out the door, one of these drives past, and someone goes like that from the little trolley as they see the sticker as they go by. Yeah, sorry.
Frankie's going to stop as soon as she sees these stickers, and she's going to do her best to take them off.
Yeah, they're just like magnetic fridge magnets. So they're not sort of like stickers. It's just things that people sort of like stick on, you know, and then that's it.
You're going to, from the phone, just sort of like sigh and say, "Kids." Even though
they are very nice kids.
Very expensive kids.
It was only 50 credits.
I was reading today. Let me just find it.
Payment for an adventure is 40 credits.
I was just reading how much sort of like things cost. Everyday clothing, personal items every day is about 1 credit. Formal clothing is each item is about 5 credits. So things like a spacesuit, okay, a proper spacesuit is 25 credits. So they're over the moon
So I made some friends pretty effectively there.
You certainly
I
did.
don't think you made them. I think you bought them.
Yeah. So just to give you some idea, a good meal is about 5 credits. So they both definitely will not be eating at McDonald's World tonight.
Good.
Good
for them.
They're definitely going somewhere else.
I mean, I made the ruffians not loiter in a spot for a little while. It's almost like I did a good thing, almost.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So what would you like to do?
I believe we're heading to the Drifter's End.
The Drifter's End it is.
Okay, so you should be able to see on your screen now. You should be able to see Drifter's End. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you can see that it's quite a packed place. It's quite a diverse place. You can notice that there's various advertisers going all over the place. There's your Sokis firing off their flamethrower at random things. There's various drones hovering around the place, and the whole place seems very sort of like friendly, but not completely safe. You can see everybody's carrying weapons of various degrees, and that's absolutely totally fine on Absalom Station. If need be, the local police can sort of like, stop people quite rapidly. And like you say, you're on a spaceship, a space station, In space, there's nowhere to hide, and that is exactly what it's like on Absalom Station. Yeah, so what would you like to do?
So the picture that we've got on file of Hank,
Yeah.
is not an up-to-date picture.
Oh, no, it is, yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it's an up-to-date picture. He joined when he was about 19, and every year you are required to update your photographs, so you can see that a range of up-to-date photographs right the way up to his current age.
Okay, so Frankie's going to say, as I say, we just hit the bars. Maybe show his picture to around and see whether or not we can get a sighting of him.
I agree, or the gambling halls, perhaps.
If he's holding up to what he normally does, it's probably a bar and then a woman.
A drink and a lady, yes.
Okay then, so is there any specific skills that you would like to employ in order to try to see him or locate him as you go from bar to bar, from gambling den to gambling den, right the way through Drifter's End? So Drifter's End is the street, but there's quite loads of side streets and everything. Is there any sort of like specific skill that you were planning on using?
Perception, of course, to see whether or not we can spot him in the various bars. Frankie would probably use the up-to-date picture that we have of him. Maybe ask the barmen, or anybody, anybody on the door to see whether or not they've seen him recently.
Okay.
I'd probably supplement that perception with my diplomacy if I can, to be like going around with and making sure to be sweet to the people that we're asking and smoothly get whether or not they've seen
Cool.
Yeah, seen him. I'm just asking people.
And I'll be doing exactly the same, but while juggling 2 hammers. So I'll be juggling like this, 2 hammers, while talking to people and saying, "Hello, I'm looking for a friend."
So you're juggling your hammers?
Yeah, just tossing them.
Okay then, so actually you get a credit halfway through. Somebody seems to think you're some kind of street entertainer, and sort of like somebody says, "Oh, look at the poor guy there, has to resort to juggling," and sort of like flicks you a coin, and you notice
my
that
third hand will shoot out and catch it.
you notice that these Zafs up here almost like look quite disdainful at you, as if to say, he's juggling on the streets. So if Buddy, you do your diplomacy skill, and if Frankie, you do your perception skill, and then we'll work from there.
All right, Frankie, let's do this.
Nice. Both of them nice rolls, and both of them above the 15, which you needed. Yours is more than 5 above the 15, Buddy. Yeah. So you will get more information with your diplomacy questioning, and you get various pieces of information. One of the first things that you get is that you don't see him. The first thing that you get, Buddy Bot, is information from a fellow pilot who actually knows of Hanksaw, and says, yeah, that he's at the Drifter's End, the bar, sorry, the Starfall bar. That you know before, and he sort of like says, oh yeah, he's been in there, and he sort of like looks at his timepiece, and it's about 3 o'clock, and he sort of like looks at it and he says, yeah, he went in about 10 o'clock this morning, and various by the time you get to Starfall, you all 3 of you go in, well 4 of you including Babs. Frankie, I will assume Babs is with you unless you state otherwise.
Yeah, Babs normally walks behind her. Then when Frankie stops anywhere, she sort of like, Babs comes up to her, to sort of like just to one side, and she normally sort of like rests her robotic arm on its on what looks like sort of like a plate on top of Babs's head.
Cool. So you Frankie and Buddybot, you share the information, and Frankie and Zaf, sort of like juggling his hammers, arrive at the Starfall place. And when you arrive in there, you sort of like have a quick look round, Frankie, but you can't actually see him. But you do notice that over in one of the corner booths, there's 3 Shirens there, and that you recognise, because I think in your introduction you said that you actually lived on Absalom Station.
Yes.
Yeah. So these 3 Shirens, they're actually called the Sisters. And you do know that they're actually their interest is in artifacts and cultural items or relics. They're also almost like fixers. They're buyers and sellers of them, and they're stood in a corner. And you notice that when you go in, via your roles, you sort of like interrogate the barman, and he sort of like points over to the Sisters, and they seem to be very close together. So for those of you who don't know, Shirens are insectoid sort of like creatures, and they're sort of like all sat there, busy, seems to be talking, but their antennae are going 90 to the dozen. I'll just grab you a picture, and then, because I didn't have one organised, but I'll just grab it from the book. And then... So
does the barman indicate those when we ask about Hank?
Yeah. It's as if it's just loading up, and then you should be able to see that. That's what the Shirens look like. Yeah. So they got antennae. They actually have 2 legs that they walk on, 2 legs that are like arms. They do have a 3rd set that are actually what are called mating arms. And they're actually on their thoraxes, sort of like hidden away. and they're used for mating procedures, and so they're not actually used a huge amount. If anybody would like to make, let me just make sure I've got the right thing. Yeah, if anybody's got life science, you can make a roll, and I'll give you some more information if need be.
I don't have it.
Sorry.
No? Yes.
I have it, but I don't have it as a what do you call it, skill, a class skill.
Does it have a little?
No, I'm not trained in it.
Do you need to be trained in it?
I believe if it has the one that little cross in it, don't you need to also have it trained to be able...
A little. If it's got like
Yeah.
you need to be trained in order to.
Yeah. So no.
No. Okay then. Cool. So so you can't. The only thing that you know is what you see there. You know this. The other thing that you do know is that they're very eager to learn things, and that probably explains why the sisters are in there. The other thing is, and it's well known, they actually tend to communicate telepathically rather than via verbal.
So Frankie's going to say to the other two, just ask the barman about Hank, and he's indicated those Shivan over there. I've had dealings with them before, not these ones, but I know about these ones. The telepaths.
Are you in the bar now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Don't
Telepaths.
don't try to negotiate with them. They know what you're thinking before that you do.
I see. But that makes sense, as my brain was programmed to think in a way that somebody has thought before.
Yes, they're a most remarkable up-and-coming race.
I say we go and have a chat with them and see whether or not they can one, maybe sell us some magical artifacts if we all maybe club together, and secondly, to see what they know about Hank.
Yes, our goal is to find Hank. That is our primary objective.
Yes, I don't know the magical artifacts you're wanting, but Hank is definitely the priority here.
We will add your secondary goal, though, Frankie.
Well, you never know when you're gonna need some magic. We once had a pretty how shall we say it, a pretty sexist first officer on one of the ships that we were on, and believe you me, after he had that sip of the Simonov sex shift, he tend to see things from a woman's point of view.
Ha ha ha. Ha ha.
I do not understand.
No. You will do, one day.
I suppose. Let us approach our Shiren contacts then.
Okay, so we're gonna go over.
Yeah, all of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you still juggling?
No.
No. Okay.
I was doing that more of an intimidation thing rather than a juggling act.
Oh yeah, I think juggling's very intimidating. Yes.
It is with skill.
Yeah. Especially if you're juggling with different coloured balls.
Yeah. Okay, so you all sort of like go across to the sisters' sort of like curved table, and you sort of like arrive, and there's chairs enough for you to sort of like sit down on, and they sort of like seem to be almost like clicking away to each other. And as you approach, could you all make for me a perception roll?
Yeah.
Okay, so Buddy, as you come closer, your security program obviously has finished uploading now, and you almost like see that as you approach, they seem to be taking something off the table, and almost like storing it away in what appears to be robes or something like that. And they come down and they sort of like look up with you at their sort of like their bug-like eyes, and their antennae sort of like flicker, and you can, as you approach, they seem to be going like that, and then one of them turns to you and she sort of like says, "Sit down." And
Thank you.
her voice is very sort of like sharp, and you notice that there's a lot of clicks in it, and it's not clicks as because she's making the sound, it's clicks because of their mandibles that are obviously not designed for human speech or language in this form, and so there's constantly this click thing, and each one of them turns to you, and in turn one of them says, "Tisan," and sort of like bows, and the other one says, "Seska," like that, and bows, and the other one says, "Zenka," and bows, and they almost like seems to be it's almost as if they're sussing you out, if you're aware of that phrase.
Not fully.
Right. They're trying to figure out.
Evaluate you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's an English.
Evaluate your motives, or
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's. Yeah, and they sort of like sit and wait expectantly.
well, before Frankie sits down, she's going to go, "Frankie," and sort of like do the odd little bow that they did before she sits down.
Just roll a culture check for me.
I was going to ask if I could roll my culture protocol to see if I know how to behave appropriately.
By all means.
And buddy, you know how to be friends with insects. Maybe.
Well, yeah. So,
I can't roll because it's a class skill.
as in a trained skill.
It's trained and the class.
All right. So you don't have any.
No.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Right, my apologies. I can't do it either because I thought it was if you had 2 points, that you could still roll it. No, it has to be trained in.
So BuddyBot, you pick up and you sort of like know that generally Shimon's not keen on things like human contact. They do actually prefer to communicate telepathically, but they are willing to join. They verbally and verbalize to you, and they're quite happy in this situation, but they're not too keen on sort of like hugging or kissing or shaking hands or anything like that. Right, guys, it's just gone past, so I think what we'll do there, just before we actually embark on this discussion, we'll take a quick 10-minute break there. So if you're watching the stream, then go and get yourself a drink and grab something to eat, and we will be back in approximately 10 minutes. Hang on, I'm just checking the time. Yeah, so we will be back in 10, so come back soon.
Oh dear.
Yeah, and we are back, and we join the party after fresh beverages, in the Starfall inn or bar tavern, on Drifters Island in Absalom Station, where they are about to engage in a rather interesting chat with a group of Shirans called the Sisters. And we will go from there. Off you go. I think you know their names now, and BuddyBot, you introduced yourself as well.
And I wanted to introduce myself. Of course, I am BuddyBot, but in my background server processing, I want to thank. Thank you for letting me take a seat as I take a seat.
Cool. Yeah, and you sort of like think it in your head, and everybody sits down, and they almost like they're sat there, antennae waggling, or almost like waiting for something to happen.
The bar seems very busy tonight. Lots of chaos.
One of them sort of like says, turns to you, and with this constant click, as they try to speak, they sort of like say, "You wish to purchase something?"
Perhaps, but our primary meaning of talking to you here is to ascertain where Hank Saw is. Do you know Hank Saw?
So the one that's actually communicating with you face to face is the middle one, called Cheska, and who introduced herself as Cheska. And when you mention Hank Saw, you see her almost like go like that. She's not shaking her head. It looks like she's almost like taking in thoughts from both of her colleagues, almost like super quickly. And she sort of like listens like this, and then she goes, "Reason for inquiry?"
Well, he's our pilot on our ship, and we are looking to find him so he can actually pilot our ship.
They sort of like she sort of like glances her head backwards and forwards and says, she goes, "Hank, your pilot?"
Official Starfinder business, of course.
And she sort of like, it says, "Of course."
Of course. Do you know where Hank Saw is?
She sort of like looks at her colleagues and says, "He was here."
He was here, but is no longer here. Do you know where he went?
Home?
Home. Where is his home?
We do not know.
That is fair. It would be inappropriate for strangers to know where his home is.
The Shirin on the right of her, so on your left, seems to almost like wrap her cloak around her a little bit tighter. She was the one who introduced herself as to Sen. And the Chesko in the middle says, "You wish to buy?"
Yes, I gesture over to Frankie. My cohort did indeed have a need to make purchases. What kind of wares do you have?
Interesting wares.
Interesting wares. What exactly does interesting wares mean?
They sort of like look at you, Frankie, and says, "You wish to buy?"
I think Frankie is doing some repairs on her drone right now, or tinkering or something. But Buddy Bot looks at her and says, or looks at one of the sisters.
Sorry, I had to take that call. What was?
And the one of the sisters has asked you what you wish to buy.
Oh, right. Sorry, yeah. So Frankie's going to say, I was wondering whether or not maybe you had some serums for sale, honey. Maybe the healing type.
She they say, how many you desire?
2, 3, maybe.
They seem to nod, and they say, delivery arrangements.
I can pay cash now.
They sort of like look quite shocked and just sort of say, we do not carry goods on us for obvious reasons.
Will you tell me the time and the place, honey, and I'll be there.
We deliver.
Right. Where's good for you?
Where do you live?
Do we have like apartments or whatever?
Well, I presume so, because you live in Absalom Station, don't you?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm not traveling, so I'll give my address.
Yeah. And they sort of like take it on their data pad and say, later today.
That is absolutely fantastic. Would you like payment now?
Of course.
And how much would you like, honey?
How much do they go for?
50 credits normally.
Yeah. How many did you want?
3?
3. Yeah, they'll probably charge you about 80 each. So it'll be like 240 credits.
Okay.
Yeah, they take the money. You notice that one of them is sort of like,
Or maybe buy 2 then.
2. Okay, that's 160 credits. You notice that one of them is sort of like looking over to one side a lot, and they sort of like obviously communicate somewhere, and they all look over, and you sort of like all almost like glance over your shoulder at what's going on, and there seems to be 2 space goblins. They seem to be going from table to table, asking questions, and it's quite obvious that they're asking questions. And a lot of places they just sort of like get pushed away or told in various languages to go away, but they seem to be going from table to table.
Frankie will lean in towards the Shivan and she'll say, trouble? And sort of like a question mark in her voice.
She does reply. She goes, no. Does your droid have ability rolls?
No.
So it has no skills. Does it have any skills, like perception and things like that, or not?
No.
No. Okay.
Unless I'm in direct control of it, and in which case, so if I'm master controlling it, then I can use my.
Right, I was just wondering whether or not it has perception rolls, but obviously not. It's always you guys that have perception rolls. Yeah.
Would I be able to roll culture to see whether or not I know space goblins are normally like just pestering us to donate to some fund, or if they're an actual threat, like thugs or bugbears might be?
Yeah. Generally, when you're finding out information, it comes under either life science or mysticism, depending what it is. So if it's undead, it's mysticism. If it's something like an animal or a humanoid, it's a life skill. So rather than I think, but roll your culture.
Yeah, I guess if I could change that to more fit the culture, it'd be like looking at how they're dressed. If they're just dressed in pretty modern clothing, I hope that they're like just a nuisance.
Yeah, well, space goblins are a bit like tinkerers. So they actually wear the same sort of like outfits as you're wearing. So they carry weapons and they carry armor. They have armor. What they tend to do is make it themselves, and it almost like becomes almost like fragile. Space Goblins items are renowned for not working at that most important bit. So it's almost like they will claim that they've got a new pistol that has they will say something like, they will have a pistol that's also a knife. Or something like that, and when it actually comes to it, I'll just show you it, and then you'll be able to. So they're notorious as sort of like saying, "Oh yeah, we've invented this. We've got this new thing that nobody else has." And then when it actually comes to seeing this new pistol. That is integrated with knife control. You get something like that if it's on your screen.
Quality. A quality weapon.
Yeah,
that's great.
And that's how their weapons are actually made. So you can see that it's literally held together.
Taped together.
Yeah, and they tend to sort of like bring a whole load of different elements and just sort of like tinker them to get something a little bit or hopefully usable. They're, just so you know, they're slightly they're a lot thinner or a lot slimmer than the goblins you might know from fantasy settings, but they're slightly taller.
Okay.
Than normal goblins. A typical space goblin is about 3.5 feet tall, and weighs about 35 pounds. But the majority of that's in their head.
Mm. So it's kind of like Pathfinder goblins then.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sort of like lean back on the chair that she's in the booth and sort of like put her armor, and she's going to watch these space goblins for a bit. What sort of like response are they getting from the other patrons?
No, the normal response that you would expect patrons.
There's no pointing or anything.
No, they seem to be going for. They're almost like as if they're selling peanuts.
Right.
Ooh, or something like that. They seem to be going. They don't have any goods or anything. They seem to be trying to engage in conversation at the tables.
How far away are they from us?
They're over the other side of the bar.
Right. So out of earshot.
Yeah.
could I just stand up and just casually walk in that general direction, just to not to engage, but to have a listen, see if I can hear what they're asking?
Yeah, so you sort of like, so are you actually following them round as they go around therefore?
No, I want to do a counterclockwise, so actually come past them. So not following them, but coming towards them to pass.
Right. And what are you doing as you walk around?
I'm just generally just walking, just as if I'm going out in a sense.
Okay, so you're not engaging with anybody. You're just sort of like walking.
No, I'm just making my way to, say, the exit, for example, or that general direction.
Yeah.
But in the hope to pass them, to kind of listen to what they're saying.
Yeah. So you just sort of like walk past them. Make a perception roll as you walk past them. Yeah, they seem to be chattering about something about buying and selling something, and the people at the table as you pass are sort of like saying go away runts, or something like that as you pass them.
Okay, well, hearing that, I'll just continue my loop and then eventually end back at the table.
Yeah.
When Zaf's away, and we're sort of like still at the table, Frankie's going to lean into Buddy and say, "Hey, Buddy, have you heard this one? What's got 8 arms and an IQ of 60?
I don't know.
I know what's coming up here.
2 customers!" On the shoulder.
Engaging laughter performance.
Cool. While that is happening, the Shivans are sort of like asking if there's anything else that you require.
Sorry, did we get any more information on Hank? I had to take a phone call.
Yeah, we found out that Hank went home, and that these lovely sisters don't know where he lives.
Okay. So
somebody does.
Can Frankie check his log file to see whether or not there's any indication of his address?
Yeah, roll me a computer skill.
We also found out he was here at 10 a.m., which means he came on a different flight, which explains why he wasn't on the Clements.
Yeah, you search the whole data file, and there's no information about a permanent place of residency. It seems to you that he actually does sort of like hires a room or a motel or something like that, or apartment as he's moving away. He has no fixed known abode. And yes, Buddy, that would be a reasonable assumption that he actually came the previous day, or even previous, fortnight ago or whatever.
Frankie's going to say, well, there's nothing on his file that indicates where he...
Are you still at the table with the Shirens, or have you moved somewhere else now?
Up to Frankie.
I don't think there's anything else we can get from the Shirens.
Okay, so you've got your own sort of like little booth. So you, as Zath walks around the bar, by the time you get back, Zath, they've moved to more of a cubicle, and that's where you're sitting now having this discussion.
Yeah, so Frank's going to say there's nothing on his file that would indicate a place where he's where he occupies in Absalom Station.
Well, I was thinking about this. He's not been here for a while, has he? So I wonder if we could find any information from... well, I was going to say the captain, but he wasn't very helpful last time I spoke to him. So perhaps anybody else who's...
I think his head's too far up his own backside to be any help.
Well, it's the pressures of leadership. Would we be able to find anybody who's flown with him before in different ways, perhaps? Maybe find a lady companion of his that would tell us where he lives or where she's been taken to?
Frankie's going to sort of like wink at Zaf and say, "I think that list is going to be very long."
Oh, wonderful. So we should be able to find a lady quite fast then.
I wonder how he makes friends so effectively and efficiently.
Good luck and charm. It's the price that, we all have our crosses to bear. That's...
Just dead silence at the table after Andrew comments.
As if to say, yeah, you haven't picked up on anything in his file. So, Frankie wants to go through his file again and see whether or not there's any... When it goes on about him being arrested or things like that.
No, just reprimands.
Just reprimands.
He was never arrested.
Right. Does it say like anywhere that he was arrested from? Or...
No, it just literally says the star date, and then it sort of like says reprimanded, intoxicated while flying, so and so, barroom brawl, so and so. Da, da, da. So it's almost like you've got the synopsis of the data file. You haven't got all the intricate details. I mean, that wouldn't be circulated to everybody, because otherwise everybody would know yours as well.
Right.
So it's just literally, it's almost like, when you fill in your profile. It's literally that, but because it's a Starfinder society, it has the almost like the person's accolades, what they've done well, but also their reprimand. So what you're hoping is that one side is completely full and the other side is completely empty.
Okay, so is there any way for me with a computer skill to get further into the system, or is it not like...
Well, yes. I mean, you could go into the Law Spire if you wished, and hacked into the system. However, I would have to say to you at this point, if you were located, that you had hacked into the Starfinder's Society's main computer bank.
I didn't know whether or not stuff like that was possible. That's
Oh yes, it's a bit like when you got the stuff off the ship. You would just do like a computer check, and then I would set the DC for it, and I might ask you to do several ones of them. So it might say, right, you do one and you've logged in underneath a false name or something like that. But you would know that, with the Starfinder Association Society, it's not something that you would like to be found out.
No.
Otherwise, I think if you were found out, Frankie would definitely have
a reprimand.
Yeah. If a data file at all.
Frankie's going to say to Buddy, did the Shivan say why Hank had approached them?
I did not think to ask that question, Frankie. Are there any known aliases of Hank Saw?
Frankie will quickly have a look through it. No, there won't be any aliases written on here. This is just all standard stuff that anybody...
Buddy, make an intelligence ability check for me.
Ooh.
So you should have I think you should...
Rolling like this?
Yeah, that's exactly...
I took 10.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so you figured that, I mean, that the Shivans are very interested in artifacts and rare items, and you also know from the computer file that Hank Saw's been engaged with things like this over the past. So that's almost like seems to be a commonality between both groups of people.
I didn't consider that. Buddy Bot says to Frankie and Zatharius, perhaps he was trying to buy something or sell something. Perhaps he got something he did not want the other Starfinders to find. But if he has no known aliases, and he generally goes to temporary residences, would one of you be able to search cyberwebs and find perhaps any record of him purchasing a room of a hotel for the day or evening?
I think the room that he's probably purchasing is paid for by the hour.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Hello, I am
Excuse
Buddy
me.
Bot. Can I help you?
Hi. We're in, and you look down by your table. There seems to be 3 space goblins. They're just sort of like peering over the top of your table, and he says, "I wonder if you could help us, please."
What kind of help do you need?
We all need help. We're looking for someone.
So are we.
You're looking for some. Well, we're looking for this person, and they seem to have a little data pad that already has a picture on it, and they turn it around and show it to you, and it's actually not the same pictures that you've got. It seems to be Hank Saw, but he seems to be in a fond embrace with a lady with not a lot on. It almost like looks a bit fuzzy, as if it wasn't taken legally. His name's Hank Saw, and we it's very important that me and my friends here find him. Have you seen him, please?
Gosh, no, we haven't. But pray tell, what has he been doing?
Why do you have so many arms?
Because people find me armless.
They sort of like look at each other and say, "But you have 6?
No. Oh,
You're not armless. You have 6?
More.
Yeah. You have more. You should say, no, you should say, because I am armor.
More.
Yeah. It still wouldn't be funny, though.
It wouldn't, though. You're right.
No.
You must forgive me. I'm trying to engage with different cultures, and I find your other cultures' humour.
Have you seen this person?
No, but
One of them turns around and says, "He is a long-lost uncle of ours, and we are searching for him because we miss him." And one of the others turns around and then he goes, "Ow!" like that. And one of them sort of like has looked at him quite sternly. You notice that he's sort of like massaging his leg.
Are you okay, or do you need some medical attention?
Yeah, I'm fine. And he sort of like turns around to the other one and says, "I thought we were going to use that story." And the other one says, "Shh, no, we can't be our uncle. Oh, shall I say he's our dad? No, shut up."
He could be your step-uncle.
Yes, that would work quite well.
He is our step-uncle. Have you seen him?
No, sadly.
Oh.
Why?
Do you want to keep an eye out for him? Where should we look?
Where should you look? Well, where he is. Because then you can tell us.
That's a very astute answer.
Because we've lost him, see? And he is our step-uncle.
Have you checked the last place where you had him?
That's
what I always do. If I lose something, I always go back to the last place I had it.
They go, "Thank you." And they sort of like start to saunter off, and you hear one says, "I don't get that." No, it's a bit like his armless joke as well. And they just sort of like go to the next table, and you hear one saying, "Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me," and somebody just sort of like throws their beer at him, and he goes, free drink, and they move off, and you hear in the distance, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, as they proceed to go round about.
The picture that they showed us, it just looked like it had been taken with a camera or something.
It looked like a selfie.
Right. Was there anything in the background that we reckon?
A woman.
Right. That was it. It wasn't. Was it on the street or anything like that?
No, because it was a selfie. So
Right.
it was literally.
Oh.
Right.
Oh.
Bit of a tongue stuck out, that sort of like picture. It wasn't like a holiday snap.
Right. But it was obviously right. Yeah. Okay.
Might have been in a bedroom.
Indisposed snap.
Okay.
It wasn't through like any window blinds or anything, of course.
No, if somebody would like to roll a computer check, doesn't matter who's going to do it.
I can, or Frankie can.
Yeah, it looks like it's been cut and pasted from somewhere else. That is, and it's probably originally very low resolution, but because it's been cut and pasted and then blown up, it's still got that low resolution feel to it. And it's a bit grainy and blurry. So they had it about this big. Originally, it'd probably be about that big.
Frankie's going to say, seems a bit odd that goblins are also looking for our pilot.
This is beginning to concern me. .exe.
I'm beginning to think it might be easier to fly the ship ourselves.
If only we had the skill. But no, he does seem to be he seems to be a person of interest, doesn't he?
Indeed. We must complete our Starfinder goals, though. We must find him, regardless of his morality.
Yes, because at the end of the day, what Venture Captain Arvin has said is we must find Hank Shaw. So let's go find Hank Shaw.
I say our next point of call should be the closest brothel.
You notice that one of the space goblins, about 4 tables down, is suddenly they sort of like, one of them sort of like jumps up and down and starts to clap his hands, and one of the other ones just sort of like clips him round the ear, and there seems to be some money exchanged over the table, and the 3 space goblins sort of like get together, and they sort of like bustle out of the Starfall bar, and sort of like head out of the door into the streets.
Frankie's going to say, it seems like our friends have found a lead that evaded us. I say we follow them, and she'll get up and she'll say, let's go, Babs. And she's going to head out to try to follow the space goblins.
Okay.
What he got in tow.
Okay, is everybody going out then? Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, okay then. So can you make perception rolls for me, please?
Yeah.
Buddy
The new
Bob
update.
17. Frankie 16. Zath 9. Okay then. So, if you're above 10, you notice that the goblins seem to be hurrying down the street, and you can see them in the distance as you come out, and almost like to reinforce what you were thinking seconds ago, Frankie, you notice them turn into what appears to be some kind of motel hotel sort of like building. It's actually called the Lazy Sunshine. You can see the arrow, the sign is up above, sort of like flashing, and Frankie, you know that from living on the station, that this is a sort of motel that you, shall we just say, it's not something that you would live in for a huge amount of time.
No.
And you probably purchase rooms for overnight stays, or even maybe by the hour. And before I'm just typing something to you guys. Just 1 minute.
By the hour. Organic structures must not need to rest that long.
Well, I was thinking the same, to be fair. It must be one of those things where humans just come here for a quick recharge.
Power naps. It's all about the power nap.
Power nap.
Explains why I can hear so much working out going inside. Maybe it's a gym or something.
Fascinating.
Frankie's going to turn to the other two, and she's going to say, Don't look, but, well, do look, but don't look. But isn't that the person that we saw in the spaceport?
I do not know if that is the person, but my security monitoring has shown that there is a hooded figure watching us at this current moment.
I honestly can't see what you're looking at.
Don't look, just trust.
Maybe we should go and have a word.
But our targets are going into this motel. They are perhaps leading us to Hank Saw, and Hank Saw is our primary objective.
Well, at least we know where they are, and if we need to, we can come back. But please point me in the right direction of where we're going to go next.
Hank Saw's power nap could be over at any time. We need to act swiftly.
The motel it is, then.
To the motel.
Yeah, so we're going to follow the space goblins into the lazy sunshine.
Cool. Okay, so when you get to the motel, you can see that you go in, and there's a woman at the desk, but she seems to be watching something on the Tridio. It's probably the latest version of Love Island, and Stacey's being voted bottom of it, and she's sort of like watching the reality TV, and she's paying no attention to anybody almost like coming or going. There doesn't seem to be a lot of people around at this time at all, and it's several floors. There seems to be the base. This floor just seems to be almost like a huge entrance hall, and then the counters at the far end, and then there's a bar off to the left, and what's meant to be a sitting room, a lounge area, but it looks like it's more like a bar as well, on the left, and then there's a set of stairs going up, and there's an elevator as well, or a lift as we would call it.
And is there any sign of the space goblins inside?
No, by the time you get here, there seems to be no sign of them at all.
Okay, Frankie's going to. I take it there's no sort of like booking in book or anything like that, especially when you're paying by the hours.
Yeah. Sorry, correct. Yeah, there is.
Okay. So Frankie's going to go up to the desk, and she's going to say, "Excuse me, honey."
Yeah, it seems to be a middle-aged woman who seems to be not very interested in the job. She sort of like has a cigarette hanging out from her mouth, and she sort of is watching almost like a portable television down to one side. Probably one of those really old ones that the VHS video still goes in the front, you know, or something like that. And she watching it, and you talk to her, and she just picks up a data pad and puts it on the thing, and she just says, "Sign in."
Frankie's going to she's going to pick it up, and as she does, she wants to see whether or not she can use her computer skill, whether or not, because her custom rig's built into her metal arm, whether or not she can use it to hack the system to see whether or not anybody by the name of Hank has booked himself in, and if so, what room he was.
Okay, so this is going to be quite a difficult. The actual system itself is not a problem, but what's running against you is the actual time and trying to hide what you're actually doing. So the difficulty will be set at 15. So you're looking for a DC of 15.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah. He booked in 3 days ago. He's in room 647.
Okay, so without signing it, Frankie's going to hand it back and say, "Thanks, Han." 647, did you say?
Yeah.
So looking at the layout, does it say sort of like what floor that room would be on?
Yeah, so it's like a standard hotel. And
Sixth floor.
Yeah, it'd be 6th floor, room 47.
Okay, so Frankie's going to say, "Looks like our pilot's in 647." And she's going to head to the lift.
To the left.
Are the stairs as well in this?
Yep, like.
Okay, in which case, can I run up the stairs while they're getting the lift? But I want to check each floor as we go up, looking down. Because you know when you come up the stairs, you can look down the corridors.
Yeah, okay, that's
Yep.
cool.
So, yeah. And I'll do that all the way up to the 6th floor.
Just 1 second.
I'm a lazy android. I take the lift.
Yeah, so Zaf, just roll Constitution check for me, please. Cool. So so you start running up the stairs, checking the corridors as they go. Frankie and Buddy, you arrive on the 6th floor. The elevator doors open. And I'll just move you on. You will appear before Zaf as he runs up the stairs and checks the corridors. Can you see on?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't move myself though. That's okay.
No, that's my next job. You should be able to do it now. So can you actually see, like, what can you see?
So I can see the stairs, the elevator, and then 2 corridors, one with 5 doors and one with 4 doors.
Yeah, so this door here that I'm pinging at, that's fire exit. Okay. These seems to be all rooms. This corridor here turns there and goes round another block. So you figure you're in one sort of like quadrant of the thing. But you, as you come round and you get out the lift, you notice that stood at the end of the corridor outside a door is one of the space goblins. He's just sort of like stood there outside the doors.
And looking at the, is there, as you come out the lift, is there any sort of like indication of which numbers go which way on this floor? So normally I'll say maybe it says something like 610 to 630 one way, or
Well, you can probably. I mean, you can't actually see any room numbers from where you are without moving slightly, but you probably think that 47 is not going to be to the left of the map, because that obviously this is where the room starts. So you figure, and you know there's also a space goblin stood outside a door.
Real quick, is there any way that I'd be able to see a clock or check the time in
Yeah,
game?
everybody has internal built-in clocks. Yeah.
How close is it to noon?
It's past noon, isn't it? Because the ship came in afternoon. So
Okay. That's what I wanted to confirm.
it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. What
Okay.
do Frankie and Buddy? What do you wish to do?
so the to get to 647 is going to be round this corner.
Most likely.
It's going to be towards the space goblin. Yeah.
Okay, so Frankie's going to head down that way.
Okay. Are you going right the way down to the corner? Is that the plan?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Buddybot, what are you doing?
I'll follow, but are we just walking right past the space goblin?
Well, at the moment, it's not doing anything apart from it's just stood outside the door.
Yeah. If anything, it is jiggling a bit as if it needs the toilet.
Can you put Babs on as well, please?
But Buddy's going to stop the space goblin. Oh my gosh!
That's a proper drone.
Yeah. So remember, the drone is actually about
4 foot tall.
4
yeah.
foot tall.
So it's actually bigger than these goblins.
Yeah. So whereabouts is it at the moment?
It follows me. It's following me behind me as I go up.
Yeah.
Okay. So Frankie and Babs, you're just walking past. Is that what you're planning
I
on doing?
want to go up to the corner so that I can see down.
And
down.
Buddy, what are you doing?
I approach the space goblin, walking behind uniformly until the space goblin, and then I stop and I look at the space goblin and say, "Hello, I am Buddybot. How are you doing this evening?"
He sort of like looks at you. So you can see that the corridor continues round, Frankie. So it goes in a south. In the next 10 foot, it turns south. Then it carries on round. And you just make a perception roll for me, please, Frankie.
Nice.
Yeah.
Natural.
As you walk past, you notice that the room that the space goblins actually stood outside is 647. The space goblin sort of like looks at you, Buddy Box, and he says, "Hello, I know you, don't I?
I am Buddybot. I am friends with many.
We were talking to you at the Starfall."
Oh, that's so relevant and memorable. I remember you.
Are you
Now-
all right?
I am perfectly well, thank you for asking. My question for you is, how long have you been here?
Oh, a while.
A while. Did you manage to find Hank Saw?
Yes, he's inside with me
Oh, that
brothers.
What are your brothers doing with Hank Saw?
I don't know, he says, and he opens the door and he has a look in, and turns around and says, "They're talking." And somebody shouts out, a goblin shouts out from inside, and he sort of like shouts, "Bob, keep an eye on the corridor." And the goblin outside says, "Sorry, will do." And he turns to you, Buddybot, and says, "I'm in charge of the corridor."
Wow, that is a lot of responsibility, Bob. Do you feel the responsibility weighing down upon you?
it's it's so busy up here, but I'm a bit worried because I need to go to the bathroom.
Biological functions, very understandable, very relatable. They are crushing upon your organs, I'm sure.
I know, but I have to stand here and keep guard.
Does Frankie hear this going on as well?
Roll your perception.
I really hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
17.
you can hear Buddy in conversation with the space goblin. Yeah.
I mean, seeing that when she sees that was the room that that they were looking for, and seeing nothing down the corridor, she's going to come back up to the space goblin. I don't have control of maps, and she's going to say, "Why don't we could probably keep an eye out for you if you wanted." Whilst you go.
Roll your diplomacy. Or bluff. You can roll one or the other. Or you went for diplomacy.
I went for diplomacy.
Would your bluff be any better?
My bluff would actually be exactly the same because they're both
excellent.
based.
And he sort of like turns around and says, "No, I have to stay here because I'm on guard." And he turns to you both and says, "I have a very important job. It's very important to keep in guard."
Indeed, very important, and it is wise of you to think very, very long and hard about this type of responsibility.
Do you know my Roll20 has rebooted itself like 3 times tonight?
Yeah, it's because you're first.
Oh, no, see, because now I'm not first.
Oh, you're still first on mine. You'll always be first in my eyes. Always.
I want to look at the goblin and say, perhaps one person couldn't hold as much responsibility as you, but if all 3 of us, I gesture including Babs, if all 3 of us hold this responsibility, surely that would be enough to be comparable to you, my friend Bob.
He says, "So all 4 of us can do it."
Indeed, but only one of us has biological functions that are impending.
Roll your diplomacy.
Rolling diplomacy. Diplomacy.
Oh yeah, he says. Okay, he says. Yeah, I agree. You 3 stay out here and stand guard. And he sort of like opens the door and walks in, and he shuts the door behind him, and you hear him say, "Those people from Starfall are keeping guard outside, so I can come in and talk to you guys."
Frankie's going to turn to Buddy and say, "That didn't go quite according to plan."
Where else would the bathroom be, Frankie? We're doing a good deed while we wait our turn.
And she's going to open the door.
Are you opening the door?
She's going to open the door and go into the room.
Yeah, okay then. Just 1 second then.
I feel like we should have waited for...
Zaf's up the top of the stairs. He's just arrived.
I'm just a bit out of breath.
It's all right, I'm here.
Okay, so what you can see is this is a table, like a breakfast bar. And then I'm just trying to find my my other space goblins. Oh, goblins, there we go. And then round the table sits the 3 space goblins, almost like children in high chairs. And there's this sort of like way, almost like they look a lot taller now than what they did before, but you suddenly realise that their feet are probably not touching the ground. And you can also see, as you go in, Frankie, you can see it's definitely Hank Saw, and he's on the table there seems to be a whole load of almost like artifacts. And when you come in, you saw like so the goblin said this thing that somebody else is guarding the room, and then and walks in, and then you sort of like walks in at the same time, and at the same time Hank stands up and says almost like, "What the?" out loud. Yeah, what would you like to do, Frankie?
Frankie will say, Hank, we've been looking for you.
You see him go for his pistol on his belt, almost like quite reactively, and he just sort of like draws it and points it at you and says, "Get the bloody hell out of my my room, woman," like that. Gee, what would you like to do?
Frankie's going to sort of like put her hands up, and she's going to go, "Whoa, whoa, calm down, honey. We're here to bring you because you're our pilot."
Roll your bluff or your diplomacy. It's up to you.
I've rolled bluff this time.
Yeah, he sort of says, "I don't know who the fuck you are. Turn round and leave my room."
You're not a pilot?
He's got the pistol leveled at you. Buddy, what's your plan?
Do I hear these foul words?
Oh
emerging?
yes, yeah. You can hear even Kath down the corridor can hear it. Yeah.
That breaks one of my internal program oaths. I'm supposed to not allow bad language to happen. I will resist. I'm not pinging. I want to resist and waiting for my friend and go right in with a stern expression planted on my face.
Yeah. What's that program? Well, it's Sylvester Stallone's Goes to the Future, and every time they say a foul word, it goes.
Yes. Demolition Man.
Yeah. So it's Buddy Bot. You're almost like this because Hank's one of these people that every second word is almost like an expletive. You know, it's a sort of like, what fucking you fucking do fucking here fucking like that, one after another. Yeah, and as you come in, you Frankie and Buddy Bot, you notice that the goblins seem to almost like disappear, but then you suddenly realise that they've probably jumped off their chairs and are actually stood up, but you can't see them over the breakfast bar. Kath,
Gotcha.
what do you wish to do?
Muted, sorry. Right, hearing the commotion, I am going to sprint. Now I'm going to guess it's going to be from white. There we go. Up here, we've got 4. So 10 meters I can get to there. I can't move my token.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
can sprint down the corridor.
Yeah, to the door.
Outside. Yeah. Okay then. Yeah. What people in the room?
I mean, Frankie's still got her hands up, and she's just going, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!"
Yeah. And he's still got his pistol going. Get out of my room.
I've got my metal arms on my hips, all angry and stern looking, and I say, "Hank Saw, you are required by the Starfinder to join us. We've been looking for you."
Yeah. Do you have any form of identification or anything to sort of like support your role to him?
Oh, that's a fair point. Do I not have like a Starfinder patch or
Insignia.
insignia? I want to show off my insignia if I can, if I don't, I'll pull up an ID.
Yeah, you probably got your ID, so you can roll your diplomacy, but you can add 5 onto it. If you just roll it normally and then add 5 onto the roll, or you can just roll it. Well, you could probably add 10 on it actually, because he'll be able to see it from there.
I'll add 10 to the miscellaneous part then.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh no, that's intimidating. Why am I? Shame pickles. Okay. Diplomacy +10. Doing it the right way. Being amazing. Power roll.
Yeah, nice. So,
Out of the park.
yeah, so and he sort of that's a critical success, and he's just sort of like says he sort of like does that classic thing with the gun when he sort of like holds it up like this, so he's still got hold of it, and he sort of like says you're probably more here now, buddy, and he sort of like says, hey, he says, we're all Starfinders. He says, what are you doing walking into my apartment?
We were supposed to meet you at noon today. You were not on the Clements ship.
He says, no, he says, I came 2 days ago. You hear a voice from behind the counter. What somebody says, did you get them then? And somebody says, shh. Like that. Somebody says, they don't know we're here at the moment.
Frankie's still got her hands up because Hank is still holding the pistol, although it's not directly pointed at her. She's going to say, is it all right if I put my hands down now, honey?
Yeah, he sort of like says, yeah, put them down.
So she's going to put them down and she's going to say, how long's your business going to take?
Just one second. Where's the button to make rolls just come to the dungeon, to the game master? Can you do that?
We have a GM whisper, but isn't it?
Is there one on the?
I don't think no. The only one that we have in the macros is the GM whisper button on this one.
Okay,
it was a B roll that we had in Shadowrun.
Okay, no worries then.
But we should still be able to do it. We should be able to.
No,
a blind roll should automatically roll to you as well, doesn't it?
No, that's a code that I've done.
You don't want me to try it?
No, it's not you that I want it for. It's me.
All right.
I wanted to roll something, but I didn't want it to come up on the.
I hear that so often
on the screen.
It's me.
Okay, not a problem. I'll roll it like that. This.
Can you not whisper GM 1D whatever?
Kath, does 15 hit your energy armor class? Your EAC. Can you see that
Have a
now?
look. EAC.
I could see that. Yeah.
I mean,
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Just.
Yeah, you take 8 points of damage coming off your stamina first, as you notice that you've just been hit with what appears to be a laser rifle shot, and looking down the corridor, you see just coming up at the top of the stairs now, who's just let loose a shot there, is somebody that looks like the hooded figure that people have been seeing around. If anybody, does anybody have life sciences?
No.
no.
No. Okay then. Yeah. So, and he seems to have just he's carrying a laser rifle and he's just popped it off down thing. So let's whack some initiatives in the initiative order, shall we, please, guys? People inside, you hear the shot. So you hear
obviously coming from the corridor.
Oh yes, most definitely. You actually.
I didn't. Oh,
I can add you. It's all right.
did you get that? Oh, you got 11.8. I got 11.1.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I didn't get my token. Sorry.
It's all right. I'll add it on.
That's what I got. 7.5.
Oh, there's the roll.
I rolled a 2.
Do you have your roll, buddy?
Yeah, I'm just making sure that I got my token selected now.
Cool.
Yeah, good call.
And
Well
I had a
done.
hard time finding. Yep. Okay, I'm selected. And come on,
Error.
you got this.
Error.
Error.
Oh, look! Everybody's rolled in the right order.
And we've all rolled badly.
Okay, cool. So this is the start of the round now. So this guy fires off his laser rifle again. 11, I think, probably misses.
No, that misses. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He fires his rifle, and then he moves to here and takes cover behind the corner of the wall. Frankie, you're up.
So hearing the two laser blasts coming from the corridor, Frankie's going to say, "What the hell?" And she's going to draw her laser pistol from a holster that's on her right hand side, and then after she's done that, she's going to say, "Babs, evade and engage."
Okay.
And she's going to issue a command.
Is issuing a command an action?
Yeah, it's simple. I can issue a simple command, but it doesn't spend any action points to do that.
Right. So your action is drawing your weapon,
Yeah,
and then you've issued a simple command to.
I've issued a command to Babs.
Okay. So it will now need to go on the initiative order.
It goes on exactly the same initiative order as
All
me.
right. So it won't do anything now until your next initiative round. Yeah. Okay. Zath, you're up.
Right. What I wanted to do isn't going to work, but what I'm going to do is draw my hammer, or one of my draw my hammers.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to run. This is going to turn out badly. I want it to run this way like this. I want to go down here. I want to jump off this wall here. So I want to, and then try to end up here. So parkour off this wall, and then end up behind him with my hammers ready to hit.
So drawing your weapons will be an action.
Yeah,
Then you have a movement.
yeah.
Now, to actually parkour off that wall would need an athletics check, which
Yep.
means it would be an action,
Ah,
and you don't have any actions left.
No,
So
you're
you
right.
can either parkour off there and land, and that would be the end of your round, or you can.
I'm going to parkour off that wall, and that'll be the end of my round.
Okay, so roll your athletics then.
Acrobatics or athletics?
Acrobatics, I think, is the one with strength attached to it. I think. Which one's
no,
the,
athletics. Athletics has strength, which is weird, whereas acrobatics has dex.
the one with
So
dex
the-
in it? Yeah.
Oh, sorry, wrong one. In that case, you want this one.
Yeah. So you run down there and you launch yourself off the wall and you finish there. Yeah, Buddybot, you're up.
So I have a weird question. I don't think it'll work, but my improvisation ability is a move action,
Yeah.
and get a move action, a standard action. Would I be able to move and then use my improvised?
What is your improvisation? Sorry, is it?
It is. I think I can show it.
Yeah, cool.
Right here. Okay. Yeah.
As a move action.
Yeah. Would I be able to move and then do that as well? Like as if I converted a standard action into a move action, or is that not the system?
No, you are using your move action to do that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you wouldn't be able to move after that. You would just have your normal action and then your bonus action after that.
Sounds good. And just to confirm, is Frankie in the doorway or blocking the doorway?
You can get out. because you can actually move through somebody else.
Yeah.
You can't move through enemy, but you can move through friendly as long as you don't occupy the same space when you finish.
Is she occupying that space? Would you say the doorway kind of covered?
Even if she, I'm just going to move her, but I'll move back. Even if she was here, you could move through her as long as you don't end up on her square. So if she was here and your finished movement would end up on top of her, you couldn't do that.
Gotcha.
But at the moment, so it really doesn't matter. You can still move out into the corridor if you wish.
I guess what I was considering, and I'm going to go with moving out in the corridor, I was considering whether or not I could stand at the doorway and peek out with my little laser blaster. But I'm gonna support my cohort, and I'm going to go out into the hallway if I can to about like right here.
So that'll be your move action then, yeah.
And then, can I draw my weapon as a standard?
Yeah. You can draw it as a standard action, and that's it.
Draw my little laser blaster, the friend saver.
Cool, excellent. And just to let you know, Frankie, you see Hank. The goblins, you can't see what they're doing, but you can also see Hank is almost like taken up defensive. He's actually like here.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I'm with you.
Because then I just need to check something. Is it me next?
I take it's like Mithras, and the initiative just carries on.
It literally just carries on.
We don't roll again.
You don't roll again, no.
What systems do you roll again? Initiative like that?
Shadowrun does.
Shadowrun does.
Because Shadowrun's a bit differently, because you roll your initiative, and then that's your initiative for the round, and then you have what's known as initiative passes. So, say for example, we've got 34, 24, and 10, and 14. It'll go 34, 24, 14. Then everybody deducts 10 from their roll, and then we have the second initiative pass. So it'll be 24, 14, 4. And then everybody deducts 10 again. So the 4 now has no more actions, but the other 2 people will.
Oh.
So, and it used to be before they came into 5th edition, it used to be that everybody moved, did their action taking off 10 until you got down to yours. So if somebody had 36 and you had 4, that other person would roll on act on 36, 26, 16, 6, and then you would get to act.
Oh my gosh.
So you had physical adepts running up to people, taking out a whole squad with their weapons before anybody moved. And they changed that. They changed that. So
for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
Sounds super rad.
So yeah, my thing first. The drow takes a guarded step backwards for his 5 foot, and then he that's his movement. That's a movement action, and then he fires his weapon for the second time at Zath. 14, I think, misses. Does it miss?
Sorry, no, 13's a hit, sorry.
14.
No, 14's a hit, sorry. I've got 13, so.
Oh, yeah, okay then. So that's a hit. So his laser goes off, doing 4 points of damage. And he's out. Frankie, you're up.
Frankie, seeing Hank take cover, she's gonna say, "You sure are popular," and then she wants to come round the doorway, but she wants to almost like use her move action to sort of like almost go onto one knee to come round it, so that it's not up at. She's not sort of like up at head height.
Yeah. Okay then.
And if she can see anything to fire at down the corridor, she wants to take a shot.
Yeah, you'll be able to shoot at the hooded figure.
Okay. I don't mind being at a minus if I'm firing from one knee.
No, there's not one
Okay.
for that.
So I get a 19.
I need to know what weapon it is.
It's an energy weapon.
19 hits.
Okay, 3 damage.
A whole 3. Yeah. Okay.
And at the same time that I do that, Babs moves down into this direction and takes partial cover round the on that corner.
Yeah. Okay.
And as it does, one of the iris valves opens on the front of it, and a weapon comes out.
Okay. Cool. Zaf, you're up.
Okay, mine should be nice and straightforward. I'm going to, here we go, jump at him, grab his weapon. Well, I'm going to grab him and throw him against the wall to his left.
Okay, so you do your movement first.
Yep.
Okay. And then you want to grapple, I presume, so that'll be an unarmed combat.
So that, yeah, just throw him into the wall. Unarmed combat is...
Yeah, you move towards him, but he's far too quick, and as you come with your 9, he easily evades it, and you sort of like grab almost at thin air. Buddy Bop, you're up.
For my move action, I'm going to use my ability above and
Cool, yeah.
shout in my deep voice, "All who stand against the Starfinders will fall. Get 'em!"
Cool. Buddy, can you remind people who need to adjust their role? You know,
yes.
You know when you give guidance to somebody in D&D, the cleric, somebody's about to roll the roll and they say guidance or something like that. Can you just remind them who actually needs it? And then because
Absolutely, I'll do my best.
yeah. Right, and are you done with?
That was my move action, and then I'm going to use my friend saver to try. Or is there a penalty for shooting into combat when they're melee like that?
No. So all that happens is that there's an increase in the armor class. So if you're firing into existing combat, the person gets +2 onto their armor class.
Okay, well,
So
I'll do that.
It's harder to hit them then. Yeah.
All right, let's hit the right button. No. I got a 3 for
yeah.
laser pistol.
Cool. Yeah. So remember that drawing or sheathing a weapon, that is actually a move action and not a normal action.
Okay.
So just to remind you from now on, so a move action, I think the sheets in the rules, I think I've put it all down for you.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so move actions are things like crawl, draw a weapon, guarded step, which is what I was doing, which is, if you play D&D, that's like disengage.
Mm-hmm.
So you move 5 foot back, but you prevent an attack of opportunity as you move out. Or you can move your speed, or you can reload, or you can stand up. So your actions are things like attack, cast a spell, covering fire, dismiss spell, etc., etc., etc. Yep.
I got confused by activate an item.
Yeah, so that's fine. And then you have reactions and swift actions if you wish, like dropping prone. Okay, are you done? Yeah?
Yes, that's all I have.
Yeah. Okay, so my guy the hooded guy. On its movement, it does a guarded step, which moves it back, which is his movement. So he doesn't get a attack of opportunity, and then it fires its whatchamacallit.
Laser rifle.
Yeah, thank you. 19. Yeah, 2 points.
That's a hit. 2 points.
Okay, Frankie, you're up.
Frankie, still down on one knee, comes round the doorway again and fires her laser pistol again into the hooded figure.
Yeah, cool.
I got a 14 for your energy.
Energy misses.
Okay.
And
Babs, because I can only take either one move action or one normal action. This time round, the iris valve does opens and the weapon comes out, because that would be a move action.
Got you.
Did you get the +1? The +1 on make sure to remember that. I forgot it for your last one.
It will be 15 on your EAC.
He has 16, so
right.
it still would have missed.
I forgot anyways.
Yeah, it's not a problem. Buddybot, you up?
Oh yeah, I guess wait. It doesn't go Frankie and Zeph?
Yeah, it does.
Oh right, it must have jumped. Yeah. So Frankie's done hers. So Zaf, you're next. Yeah.
Yep, so same thing again. I'm going to step up. I'm going to take a swing again.
Do I get... I'm just checking when I get attack of opportunity. Yeah, well your thing, yeah.
Are you swinging, or are you trying to
I'm trying to
bash it into the wall again?
Exactly.
All right.
Is this a grapple?
Yeah, exactly what I did before.
Yeah, so that's against my... Yeah, so you managed to grapple him. So you've now got hold of him. So that's your action there. So so now you're holding on to this guy, and you got him in a firm grip. No, that's all right. Excellent. Buddybot, sorry, you're up.
I don't really want to shoot at grappled people, because I feel like that's a bad choice right there. I would like to try and hold on, let me just check my character sheet really quick. I'm not gonna do that. I would like to try and I was going to try and intimidate him, but let's not even try. I want to say it in the name of the Starfinder community, lay down your arms and surrender.
Yeah, cool. And is that it? Any other actions?
I guess I'm just going to hold my gun steady. I'm just going to do that command, see if it has any effect, and end my turn.
Cool. Right, so this guy will try to break out of the hold. So I'm rolling my unarmed combat with my strength. I'm just checking my strength modifier because it's not on because I'm 1. Yeah, he gets a 7, so he's still in the hold. Frankie.
Yeah, so Frankie's going to fire again.
Yeah.
To hit the...
Okay then. So these two people are they're not sort of like standing still, remember? So they're sort of like moving all over the place here. So yeah. So well, he's going to get +4 to his armor class, but fire away.
I get 21 because I would get. Do I get the +1 from you still, buddy?
Oh No, you don't, because it's until the start of my next turn, and I forgot to remind you guys.
Yeah.
To do that.
So
Okay.
that's not a natural 20, isn't it?
No, I got a 19.
And what is are you energy?
Yes.
Yeah. So his energy armor class is 16 plus his 4, which is 20, which is enough to hit him. So,
Yes.
You do 1 point of damage to him, yeah?
1 point of damage, yes.
Cool. Excellent.
And at the same time that I fire, there's another blast from down the corridor. If Babs will only fire if there's nothing going to be in the way for her to hit.
And to her, you're firing around that side, so you've got a line of sight.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So she won't fire into
Buddy Bot.
Into if there's ever a chance that she will damage somebody else.
Yeah.
She will not fire.
She won't fight that. Yeah. Zaf, you up. So you've got hold of this this bounty hunter at the moment.
Right. Can I unclip my binders that I have on my belt and hook them around his wrists while I've got him? I've got 4 arms. I'm holding his 2 arms like this.
Won't that mean that you're getting more than 1 attack per round, though?
Well,
Did you not draw your hammers as well?
No, I tried to draw my hammers yet, but trying to distract him from shooting me because he can't. I'd not be able to move and draw at the same time with him backing away. So, okay, in which case, I shall bash him against the wall if possible.
Okay, well, unarmed combat. Hang on.
Damage on that would be...
Hang on, because his kinetic armor class is higher than his energy thing. Yeah, so that just hits. So roll your damage.
Which would be... He says looking at this... So would that be based on... Oh, God, where's unarmed? Basic attack. So what would my damage be? So it'd be something like strength plus...
Does it not say in the skill that you've... I presume you've got unarmed combat. You've got a skill in unarmed, yeah?
I've got melee, which is basic attacks.
Hang on, I'll
Which is total 5 plus 1 bab plus strength, ability 4.
I'll change one of my characters on Hero Labs.
Says unarmed strike does D3 bludgeoning damage, I think is what B means.
Yeah, what's your strength?
Strength is... Well, my strength bonus is 4.
It's +4 your strength.
Sorry. Where are we?
You must have 18 strength then.
I've got 18 strength, yeah.
Okay, so you do 1d3 +4, and it's bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
Archaic and non-lethal qualities.
Yeah. So it's coming off stamina points and never hit points. So it can knock them out, but it can't actually kill them. Yeah.
Oh, I should put my light on, shouldn't I? 1d3 plus
4.
4.
Okay. Cool. Okay, BuddyBot, you're up.
BuddyBot is going to buddy back up. I think I can probably make it to the end of the hall here, or at least if I can't, I'm gonna. Okay, yeah, then I'm gonna do that, and so
that's your move, yeah.
Oh yeah, that is my move. Yeah, I'm gonna keep my gun steady, but I'm not going to fire because I don't want to hurt my friend.
Cool. And yeah, so we're back to me now. Yeah, so he will do his unarmed combat back onto you, Zath. That's 16.
That would be against my
Kinetic.
CAC.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a hit.
Cool. It's 1d3 plus my strength bonus, isn't it?
1d3 plus strength, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he does 2 points of damage to you.
Wonderful.
Excellent. Frankie, you're up.
Has Frankie still got a shot? What type of action would be to just look into the room behind her just to see what's happening in there?
That would just be like an action. It depends how much detail you want to actually gain from it.
I want to make sure that Hank is still in the room and that he hasn't headed out of a fire escape or anything. No,
Yeah,
actually,
you can have a quick glance. That's not a problem.
okay. So yeah, she's going to quickly glance into the room,
Yeah.
and then if she can, she wants to. Would that be a fire as well or not? Or would that be? No, I'm going to use my action just to make sure that Hank is still in the room.
Yeah, he's still exactly where he was, taking up cover down there.
Okay, and does Babs now have a?
Oh yes, Babs does now. Yeah.
Okay.
What is it that she's firing?
She fires a pulse caster pistol.
Is it EA or K?
It's EAC.
EAC. Okay, so she needs 16 or above. Yeah, and that sort of like misses.
Yeah.
With a 5. And Zaf, you're up.
Sorry, right, okay. So I still got hold of him, I take it. So I'm going to throw him down the corridor. If that's okay.
Yeah,
So I've literally got him. He's fighting me. So I want to throw him down the corridor.
Yeah.
Damage, but you know.
I think you're strong. I don't think you're strong enough to heave him down. But roll your unarmed combat. Yeah, so you sort of like go to you don't sort of like pick him up off the floor and chuck him, but you manage to sort of like push him slightly, and he goes back to here. I will make a dex roll for him to see whether or not he can stay stood up, and we'll do it that the DC is your attack roll, so I need to get higher than that on my dex. Which he gets a 13, so he's now prone on the floor. Okay, Buddy, you're up.
I want to say to my cohorts, target is not surrendering. Let's pacify him, and use this as my move action if I can.
Yeah, cool. So
And-
+1 to every attack roll for anybody till the next round. Yeah.
Yes, and then I'd like to shoot with my little laser pistol.
Yeah, cool. Go for it.
Let me give myself that +1 real quick, because it's me and allies. And pew pew.
Is that actually a fumble? Yes, it is. You definitely miss. Definitely.
Do I drop my pistol?
No.
No, you hit Zaf.
Oh, that'd be worse.
We're dead!
Ever.
Very error. I broke my own oath.
I'm
Never
just
hold a pistol again.
I'm just going to roll, guys. I'm just rolling a dexterity roll again to see whether or not he actually drops his laser pistol, his rifle. Just so you know, that's what, if you could see. So that he gets a 15 from that, which
We can't see your rolls.
All right, you'll be able to see it back. He gets a 15 from that, so he does still have his laser pistol. So he's prone, but he's firing his laser pistol.
Rifle.
A rifle, sorry, rifle upwards, which goes to that one. 23.
That's definitely a hit.
Is that a hit?
Oh, is that me? Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's the most palpable hit.
Yeah, 8 points of damage.
I'm dead.
Oh,
8 points. Yep. So I've got 2 overspill on that.
Okay, so you're down on the floor. Yeah. Therefore, Frankie, you are up.
okay. Frankie was going to take a shot at this thing prone. Do I get any modifiers because it's prone or not?
He actually gets the modifiers to his armor class
Oh, okay. All
because
right.
there's less of him to hit.
Okay, so I've got +1 from Buddy though, haven't I?
You certainly have, yeah.
Okay.
But with that, you miss it in case.
That's another.
Yeah, I haven't decided how I'm going to cope, how I'm going to do fumbles yet, so I'm just going over there. And then Zaf's unconscious.
It's still me because
yeah.
Babs can also use her normal action.
Oh yeah, cool.
Does Babs get the +1 because she's a drone? Or do you have to? I don't know what skill it was.
No, it's actually done on the target.
Oh, right, okay.
Because the thing is, as a move action, you can choose one enemy between 60 foot.
Right.
So it's not done on the people, it's actually done on the target, so she will get it.
Okay.
Cool.
I get a 16, which would normally be 1, but if you're prone...
Am I prone? Yeah, it won't. It'll miss. Okay, and yeah, so now it's you, buddy.
Continuing on, I want to use my ability again, pacify the target, and shoot my little laser blaster, if I may.
Yeah, cool.
Taste laser, scum!
You're very good with diplomacy. Just remember that.
Thanks.
Excellent. It's my movement, my guy's movement, and let's see how far he can move. 25. Yeah. He sort of like gets up, which is his move action, and turns round and fires at you, Frankie, in the doorway.
Okay.
So you will get +2 to your armor class. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. In which case, and this is energy. You need a 13 to hit.
I get a 10.
You miss.
I miss.
So it blasts off the
wall. Yeah.
The door.
And Frankie, it's now your turn.
Is he still prone?
No, he's used his move action to stand up.
Right.
But
Okay.
he can't run off yet because he used his move action to stand up.
Okay. Is there anything like aim or anything like that would give me a better chance of?
It's called your bab.
Right.
It's a good. Hang on, because I think. Let me just.
I'm the thing that makes you aim better.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Though it seems my advice is getting a lot of fumble rolls, so...
Yeah, just to let you know, I played grapple wrong. We played it too easy. Because you should have to get... If the result of your attack roll equals or succeeds the kinetic armor class plus 13 of the person, you succeed. If not, then that's it.
That must be a very high roll to get then.
Yeah. So
Plus
his kinetic is 18.
Right. So you would need to get 31.
Yeah.
Ouch.
What was I looking at?
Whether or not there's anything such as aim.
Yeah, I think it comes into things like combat feats and things like that.
Okay. I'll fire.
Yeah.
Um,
There might be. I can't find it.
oh my god. No.
No. Okay.
Anon.
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah, you got Thimmy
all
Bob
is
as well.
all is not lost.
Remember the +1s, even though
Yeah.
Yeah.
that +3 or that 3 wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, that still misses. Right, Buddy, you're up.
Man, our technology is just not great today. I'm going to continue on. Pacify the target, everybody.
Cool. That's your move action. And then
Mostly just talking to Babs. And then I'll shoot my laser pistol again confidently. As if I haven't failed repeatedly. Confident.
Excellent. This guy now has his move action, and he moves out towards the stairs, and he disappears from view. Yeah,
Frankie's going to stare.
we're out of combat rounds now.
Okay, we're just going to sort of like stay there with her pistol sort of like aimed down the corridor for, sort of like 10, 15 seconds to make sure that he doesn't come back round.
Yeah.
And then she's going to holster it and go over to Zaf.
Yeah, just once you holster it and you look back round, you notice that there's sort of like 3 space goblins just watching you as you've been firing down the corridor. And they've obviously come out of hiding, and they didn't have their weapons drawn or anything. They were just watching you fire and ducking back in and out of cover. Yeah, go for it. You want to do a medicine roll?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Do you have a medic kit?
I have a med kit.
Cool.
But I don't know how bad he is. Is there something like a sensor thing that you can attach onto him to see?
Yeah. So you're probably...
I mean, I can obviously see that he's got several laser burns on him.
Yeah, exactly. So what's the who did I send the healing stuff to? Was it you?
I think it was me. Let me check.
Yeah,
Would I be able
that's it.
to
Yeah.
act as an assistant in this process, holding first aid kit, imparting any knowledge I might have to him?
Yeah. So if you want to aid another, that's what I sent to you. That's what you asked about, wasn't it, Frankie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you must attempt your skill before the check, and if you succeed 10 on a DC of 10, then the creature gains a +2 bonus to the character's check. So, and you, Zaf, are you hit? You must be hit points down. So your roll. So, Buddy, do your roll first. So this is a DC of 10.
All right. Hold on. Let me scroll up. Medicine, assisting, buddy style.
Yeah. So you now, Frankie, get +2 to your dice roll. And you are rolling your medicine. This is going to take 1 minute. And the DC is based on the medical equipment used. I
think it's 25, is it?
If you succeed on the check, is it 25?
That's what you said in the message to me for basic med kit.
That's different. That's first aid. That is just for. Isn't that just for? Oh yes, basic med kit. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. 25.
Ouch.
Are these deadly wounds?
Yeah, because he's lost hit points.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Natural 20.
Do you want to know something? I didn't actually see the roll. I heard your voice first and thinking, and I looked up, and all I could see was Buddy's medicine check, and I could see 22, and I thought, oh my god, I'm going to have to tell him that he failed.
Actually, I thought the same. I thought it was Chooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the maximum I could ever get ever.
+2.
Okay, right.
Or is that good?
Not only do I come back to life, I come back 5 levels better.
With you
So-
come back with
There
another
are-
2 arms, but you can
That's
only
right.
still use 2.
So this takes 1 minute. DC is based on the medical equipment used. If you succeed in the check, you restore 1 hit point per level of the creature you are treating. If
How
you
many?
if you exceeded by 5 or more, you add your intelligence modifier to the amount healed.
No, it's impossible for us to get 5 plus 5.
That's right. So
Yeah.
Because
Well, how many hit points have you lost?
I'm -2.
Okay, so because it's a crit roll, okay, and you should get some benefits from being the crit. Instead of just getting 1 point back, you can have the 2 points back, which puts him to 0, which means he's stable.
Stable.
And then he can use
Thank you.
resolve points.
So do crit points have any? If you get a crit, does it have any effect on the roll?
No, only in some cases.
I know if you get a
unless
crit with a weapon, you
yeah,
get
basically,
back.
it's down to me. The same as a fumble is down to me. I can decide how I want to play it. So things like this, I can just sort of like think what is the best situation to actually occur, for that crit. And the benefit of that, say for example, because you can use a resolve point, can't you,
Yes.
to give you 1 hit point.
Yes. Is it one per hit point? Or I don't know. I can't remember.
We've got resolve points somewhere, haven't we?
Or is it 5 per hit point?
I don't have resolve.
I thought we hang on then.
I've got 5 resolve. Allegedly.
Character creation, resolve.
I have 3. I don't have much resolve.
Okay. Stabilizing. You can use them to regain stamina points. It's actually in the. I think I put it actually in the rule folder for you. Resolve points.
Oh, is it there? I just had a look
You
there.
can regain. You can use regain. You can use resolve points for regaining stamina.
No, I
Takes
don't
10
have it.
minutes. If you, it's. Oh, I see why. Hang on. Can you see it now?
Yeah, I did look there.
Yeah. If you are dying, you have enough resolve point. You can spend a number of resolve points equal to 1/4 your maximum on your turn to immediately stabilize. This means you're no longer dying, but you remain conscious. If you don't have at least 3, you and then staying in the fight. If you are stable and have enough resolve points, or if you're knocked unconscious, you can spend 1 resolve point at the start of your turn to heal 1 hit point. So you can now, because you're stabilized.
I can now get to +1.
Yeah, so technically what you should have done is because we're still doing combat rounds then, you should have stabilized yourself with 1 resolve point. Well, 1/4 of your maximum.
Yeah.
So what's 1/4?
Would be 1.25.
So that would be 1 point. So 1 point would have stabilized you. And then another point on your next round would have put you back to 1 hit point.
Yeah.
So what we'll say there is that the 2 resolve points have gone, because resolve points come back with long rests. And then your medical assistant. So that 2 resolve points give Zaf 1.
I think you should rephrase that to amazing.
And
I
then,
was gonna say-
your ability, your medicine check will give another 2 points onto it. So he'll have 3 hit points left at the moment. Now, the other thing that you have to remember, if you imagine that you're like 5th level, you would give 5 hit points back. And if you did 5 greater than your skill, you would give even more. So if you were a 10th level character, or even a 20th level character, Can you see? It's all graded. I think it's really hard playing Starfinder after Shadowrun and Mithras, which has no levels in it.
No. Well, the thing is, what I've noticed with Pathfinder, for example, is the lower levels are lethal. Once you get to a certain point,
It's boring.
basically, yeah,
It's
I
boring.
agree. I totally agree. You're therefore invulnerable, apart from against 1,000 goblins.
Well, no, the only thing that happens at higher levels is that the DM has to put even
Yeah.
more. And what I hate about it is like when there's a
Fighting
fighter.
dragons and demigods.
Yeah, well, I don't like it when there's a fighter that has like 20 hit points.
Mm.
And I hit them, and you say, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
Because
that's
you can't,
fine.
yeah,
Yeah,
their
that's
AC is
fine.
so high you can't touch them.
You know, and it's just... So anyway, so Zath is
I'm alive.
up now. Your combat drone is out there. You notice while all this is happening that the goblins come out, and they just sort of like walk round and past you as you're doing this medical aid, and they sort of like walk round, and they sort of like step over everybody and round each other. Then they sort of like look back at you while you're busy doing it and say, "It's nice meeting you. We'll see you later." And they just sort of like head down the stairs and away. And then you notice that Hank is behind you.
Zath, you successfully scared off the enemy with your acrobatics.
Why, thank you, buddy. It was, yes, interesting.
Well, what's the difference between your unarmed combat and your hammers? Or hammer?
My melee is +5, and my hammers are again 5. There isn't really; it's just damage. It's a difference.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to know. So with
Sorry,
unarmed, you do 1d3.
1d3 plus my strength bonus. So, but with the hammer, I do 1d6 plus my strength. So 1d6 plus 4. So ideally, if I'd had the time, I could have pulled the hammer out and hit him. But the fact that was against me was he gets moving back out of range. So I couldn't move to engage and pull the hammer at the same time.
What kind of hammer do you have?
I have just a standard hammer, assault hammer.
What does it come under?
Just basic melee.
Basic melee.
So let me find out for you.
What are you trying to find out in? We'll see.
Was it the club?
I can't find hammer. That's what I was looking for.
Is it like a bat? What? How much were you doing? 1d6.
That's what the club does.
It must be a club.
No, it's a hammer. Hammer assault. It's on page 172. Yeah, 172, top of the page, which is level 1, 95 price, 1d6.
Oh, no, yeah, it's not a simple melee weapon.
It's an advanced, yeah.
That's what it is.
It's a hammer.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the other thing. Because of how it's the game's organised, you don't stay with the same weapon. So it's like once you hit 10th level, you have a comet hammer, and that does 4d6s.
Yeah.
Because it's powered.
You're constantly grading your equipment and your for whatever level you are.
Okay, yeah. So this Hank's there. What would you like to do?
So Frankie's going to turn around to Hank and she's going to say, "You finished your business, honey, because you got a spaceship to fly."
Yeah, and he sort of like says, yeah, he says, I'll report to Captain forthwith. He sort of like locks his room with everything in, and he sort of like says that he's quite happy to report to Law Spire, and he sort of like heads off and report ready for duty then. And we'll start the next adventure, because I've just seen the time, and probably with feeding back after that, and then seeing what happens with the whatchamacallit.
Be really funny if next adventure Longshanks is back. We don't need a pilot.
Well, no, I think isn't he away for 2 weeks?
Yes, he is. Yes.
Yeah. So that's why I created as such. So it's 2 weeks. And the other thing, if he's not, then if he is back next week, then we'll be playing Mithras in any case. So and say for example, whoever's not here the next time, I just swap the character over. So if Longshanks is playing and Zaf isn't, then I just put on this adventure, you just went out, you didn't rescue a pilot, you rescued a gunner. Then that's it. Okay, cool. So yeah, hang on a minute, I can tell you this now because I've got my cheat sheet for my number of players 3. Let me just see what challenge rating this guy was.
Very challenging. I felt threatened.
I felt dead.
There he is. I don't think his rating was that high actually. No. Yeah, so you will gain 135. So you didn't kill the strange hooded figure. So I'm not giving you all the experience for that. But I am giving you some experience for the things that you did, as well as the role play. Yeah. So I'm going to give you a grand total from today. If you had killed the guy, you would have got more. But you didn't. So the grand total, you'll get 200 experience points from today's escapades. And that includes all your social skills, Frankie and Buddy, that you did as well. So you're being rewarded for that, as well as the battle at the end, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So does that take you to 1,100?
By my math.
200.
1,100.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah. So well done. That part of the adventure is done and dusted. So
I didn't realize my EAC was so low.
What we'll do next week is that we'll move on from this part if everybody's available, and we'll go from there. So yeah. So just to finish off, is there anything? Ooh, come on, move. Is there anything that? Oh, all I can see on my screen now is Frankie's medicine roll. Over 29. So is there any announcements that anybody would like to give?
Yes, I'd like to make an announcement to all the kids out there. It's Father's Day on Sunday. Give your dad a gift.
Okay. Any other interesting news or announcements?
No, nothing from me.
Buddy Bob?
I don't have a DM hat anymore. I put it on the shelf for a little while. It's all good. It's all good. I'm off for the summer. I don't have to DM anything. I'm just gonna be a classic old player.
Excellent. Okay, I will be back tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock for some more Elder Scrolls Online. And then next week I will be around, but my schedule will be below the stream, so just keep an eye on that. Thank you for your support tonight, everybody, and thank you for coming along and watching. And we will be back next Saturday for the second Starfinder episode of these double adventure. So until then, I would like to say to each and every one of you, please remember to be who you are and say what you feel, because the people who mind don't matter and the people who matter don't mind. Have fun, and I will catch you all later. And until then, consider yourself well and truly waffled. Have fun, guys. Bye.
Bye.